You could get on your hot
We don't
spot.
have any more chairs.
Oh,
Chief, are you going to stay standing? There's another seat over here if somebody wants to sit. There's one more seat.
I can stand.
There's one seat. Okay. It's 7:02. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jamie, roll call.
Blackburn,
Present.
Hagerman,
aye.
Michigan,
Here.
Gironi,
Here.
McAlexander,
Here.
Howard,
Here?
Miller.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the approval of the regular council meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2026. Is there a motion?
I will so move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Diane, you're going to say
All in
something about the
favor?
minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to try to speak as loud as we can. Again, there is one more seat. If somebody would like to sit down, you might be able to hear a little bit better. Next is the president's message. So because we're not allowed to have back and forth during public comment, I've historically responded to public comment at the following meeting. Last month, the fire chief spoke with the support of the fire commission during public comment, so I'm going to respond as quick and as short as I can. It's a little lengthy, so hang with me. For everyone listening, all of us on council are unpaid volunteers, so we all just want to do what's best for the community. We also want to get the best value for our tax dollars. This is not personal, this is business. All of us care deeply about getting the absolute best fire and EMS service for the residents of Bingham Farms. Just to get the public up to speed, Bingham Farms and Franklin have been in talks with the fire chief and fire commission about concerns for over a year. The meetings have been traditionally with the village managers, the presidents, the treasurers, the fire chief, and the fire commissioners. We tried to have our concerns addressed without starting rumors or raising concerns from the residents. I was very much hoping this would all be resolved before it surfaced. I was also very much hoping that our concerns would be unfounded and we could move on. Obviously, that's not what's happening. The decision to bring this to the public was unilaterally made by the Fire Commission, and I will now follow suit. I will speak publicly about my concerns from today forward. I mentioned Franklin because, yes, Franklin also has major concerns as well, but they're in a different situation because they lack fire hydrants in Franklin. That limits their options for alternative fire service. Beyond that, I will let Franklin speak for themselves. For the sake of clarity, I think it's important for everyone to know that our fire department is a multi-million-dollar 501c4 nonprofit organization that is run by a fire commission independent of either village. They are funded entirely by Bingham Farms, Franklin, and Southfield Township tax dollars. We have been told numerous times that once the tax dollars leave Bingham Farms and are transferred to the nonprofit, they become private dollars, and they have not been completely transparent with their budget. This is concerning since I have major questions about the level of service that we are getting for our money. I do agree that they have been contractors of ours for a very long time. I do not have anything against any of the firefighters, and I don't even personally know most of the commissioners. But I don't think a long-term association is a reason to dismiss concerns and go on just because it's always been done that way. As a side note, because this is a very unique and unusual situation, it's easy to confuse the two. I want to be clear that the police department is part of Franklin Village. Therefore, they are part of a municipality and follow strict governmental rules and laws, including financial audits. The two, police and fire, are completely separate. I want to make that clear so that we have no concerns with the police department. They are an exemplary department, and we do not want to make any changes with them. It's important to distinguish between the two before I continue. In response to the public comment made March 23rd, 2026, the first comment was about not returning phone calls. In a way, I can't even believe I have to spend time, as you're all standing here, to talk about phone calls, but here I go. The fire chief and fire commission accused our council and staff of not returning a phone call during public comment last month. This alarmed me, as I know our staff is very responsive, and no one on the council spoke up and said they had received a call. After the meeting, I emailed the fire chief asking when and who he had contacted. His response was, and I quote, "When I learned of the article," and he's referring to an article in the Downtown News magazine that talks about our discussions with Bloomfield Township. "When I learned of the article, I contacted Village Manager Jamie Moore and Bingham Farms Council Fire Liaison D.E. Hageman about this issue. I contacted both of these individuals on February 24th." Unquote. I found that curious because the article was prompted by a Bloomfield Township Board meeting that took place on March 9th. Tony stated he became aware of our discussions on March 10th, and the article was published on March 12th. So let me repeat that. The fire chief and fire commission accused our council and staff in a meeting of not returning a phone call made February 24th concerning an article published March 12th. Not really sure how it happened like that. The article was after the phone call. To clarify, we did not hear from the chief after the article was published. Before coming into our council chambers and accusing our entire council and staff of something we didn't do, I would think you'd have your facts straight. The lack of attention to detail is one of my concerns, and you proved me right again. Fortunately, this time it was only a phone call. In response to the commissioner's other points, Chief Tony stated that a Bloomfield Township board member wants to guarantee that Bloomfield Township residents come before Bingham Farms. I don't find it shocking that Bloomfield Township wants to ensure the fire service remains exemplary for all residents. This will surely be one of the first questions that Bloomfield Township residents ask, so the board member was getting in front of the question. I would do the same thing. The Bloomfield Township Fire Chief assured the board that this would be an easy transition and would not affect fire service for current residents of Bloomfield Township. If the intent of Chief Tony's comment was to indicate the inability of Bloomfield Township to service two communities simultaneously, I would then question our current service. Our current fire department services two communities, actually three, if you include part of Southfield Township. If a mostly volunteer fire department with one station can handle three communities, I'm sure a full-time department with 4 fully staffed stations can handle less than 1 extra call a day, which is what Bingham Farms gets. I would like to ask the same question of our fire department. If you had to choose between 2 emergencies in 2 different communities, which community would you choose? Bingham Farms, Franklin, or Southfield? Next, Tony pointed out that adding runs put Bloomfield Township at historic highs. That's misleading. The Bloomfield Township Fire Chief said, and I quote, "Adding an estimated 300 calls per year would still be in line with previous statistical highs." It was stated that Bloomfield Township recorded a continuous climb from 2011 to 2017, but have plateaued for the last 7+ years. Bloomfield Township has 20 firefighters/paramedics per shift. They're all fully staffed, and all apparatus, meaning ambulances and fire trucks, are licensed ALS vehicles, and all personnel in those vehicles are licensed paramedics. Chief Tony also pointed out Bloomfield mentioned a 5% increase per year over a 10-year contract. That would, according to Tony, equal $10.88 million. I believe that comment was meant to shock and scare our residents. Bloomfield Township did mention those numbers in their board meeting as a point of reference, but nothing has even been discussed between our council and Bloomfield Township. For comparison, the 26-27 budget request from our current fire department is a significantly higher increase than 5%. with no measurable increase in service. I would much prefer a predictable, long-term financial plan like Bloomfield Township is proposing. In addition, Bloomfield Township Fire is part of a municipality, so their finances are entirely public. We will know where every single tax dollar goes. The last point Tony made was that Bloomfield Township would ask for an escalator clause or to change the deal if Bingham Farms had a significant change in population. That idea was prompted by the past plan to have an assisted living facility at 14 and Telegraph. That PUD is off the table. However, I think it's fiscally responsible and forward-thinking for Bloomfield Township to bring that up. When we were discussing the possible assisted living facility, the only answer we got from our current provider was, we can't handle that. Ken even negotiated a firefighter to be paid for by the developer tied to the PUD, with cost of living increases included, all expenses paid for a firefighter forever. Tony said that wouldn't help. I respect a department that looks out for itself and is willing to say, hey, if your population increases significantly, we need to revisit the contract, instead of just saying, we can't do it. In closing, I would like to say that I'm dismayed with the current fire chief and fire commission. To come into our council chambers and point fingers at our council and staff when you didn't even get your facts straight is inexcusable. Then try to undermine a relationship that we're exploring with another fire department is unprofessional. You clearly told us to shop around. Now we're shopping around and you act shocked. You should not be one bit shocked that we're exploring our options. Perhaps you should have come in with some humility and said, we understand that you're not happy. What can we do to improve? How can we work together? What level of service are you looking for? But instead, you came in pointing fingers and falsely accusing others of wrongdoing, instead of looking in the mirror and wondering, why are we where we are today? This is a terrifying pattern from our current provider. We're talking about life and death, and I won't go on acting like we shouldn't be looking into our options. One other point I'd like to make everyone aware of is that our EMS provider is Star EMS. They are out of Pontiac. So if a resident has a serious medical emergency and needs much more than a ride to the hospital, our residents will be waiting for Star to come out of Pontiac or possibly further. Just to clarify, police are part of Franklin Village. They are part of a municipality. Fire is a nonprofit organization. EMS is a private provider stationed in Pontiac. Our provider does have EMS vehicles and is licensed to transport, but they're not licensed paramedics. Bloomfield Township already provides our dispatch service. Having said all of this, I want to reiterate, we are just looking out for the residents. We respect the firefighters and their efforts through their many years of service. Thank you all. I know that was long. Next, we will move on to public comments.
Before you move on to public comments, I have my own comments. Is that okay?
No, is it? Not discussion topic. Can we move it to discussion topic?
No, because there's no discussion topic on here about the fire department.
Well, DE's committee.
No, that's
Okay.
not acceptable.
That committee is just a report of what was going on in committee.
There was two agendas that came out. The first agenda that came out had a discussion item called fire services discussion. The second agenda that came out that we just approved had been removed. I don't know what others thought, but I guess I was thinking that since it had been removed, we weren't going to discuss the fire department. You've obviously said a lot about the fire department tonight. And one of those things you said was that the council, and actually you didn't say the council, you said you and others had been engaged with this topic for a year. The rest of this council, just so everybody knows, has been engaged with this topic since February. There are a lot of things that need to be discussed in public. Lisa's presented one view. I happen to have a different view. And since you brought it up tonight, I propose that I'll put a motion on the table now that we will have the fire discussion tonight. And we can have it either right now or we can have it right after public comments, since you've called the fire department to task here. I see some of the guys here, and they may want to say something. But we must have the conversation, the discussion tonight.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate since it wasn't an agenda.
It was in the agenda. They took it out of the agenda, Michael. Would you like to see
That's
the
because we were
agenda?
waiting for the information that the fire department was supposed to
I don't care
get
what you
for
were
us.
waiting for.
Well,
There
you-
was an expectation that we were going to have the fire discussion tonight. When it was removed from the agenda, there was an expectation from me that we weren't going to have a discussion. Now we're having a discussion. We need to continue the discussion now. This can't go to another meeting. This needs to be discussed right now in its totality. And I would even go further to say that when we go to public comments, that you take the time limit off of 3 minutes and let anybody say what they want to say for however long they want to say it. And I want somebody to tell me that when we have this discussion, that anything that's been discussed in the past 2 closed sessions now can be discussed publicly.
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay? Then
Okay, we'll just
then
do
it's
it
a
then.
problem.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about things now that were discussed in that closed session. I don't know
I
how
only
that we...
talked, I only talked in response to the
I
public
don't
comment.
care. Then I'll talk in response to whatever, and some of the things may have been in the closed meeting, and some may not have been. But this is so one-sided, I don't even understand. Let me say something. I'm not even sure what to say after I've just listened to this. DE and I were asked to go have meetings with the fire department, which we have started, because we all agree that things can be done better. I don't know why we wouldn't give our own fire department a chance to do things better after having a relationship for, what, 50 or 60 or 80 or 90 years? I don't know. We need to have that discussion. Wherever they're lacking, we need to see a plan of how they could get us there. I'm lost. How did we get here? How did this thing become such an urgency that we're not going to let this council talk about it tonight after what was just said? And I'll tell you one more thing, and then you guys can make your decision. Sometimes things in life reach a point where they're right or they're wrong. This is one of those times. And if we can't continue the discussion tonight, this is wrong.
I make a motion that we continue the discussion on the fire department.
I second that.
Is that legal?
I think it's inappropriate under the Open Meetings Act. It's not on the agenda.
No.
Then this
And
is
I don't
wrong.
feel prepared to have full discussion.
You were prepared to have this, by the way, one other thing, everybody here. What she just said was not disclosed to us. We had no knowledge of what she was going to say.
Because it's a president's message. I've done this multiple times. I'm just responding to public comment.
This is a very, very serious issue.
I know that.
I make a motion that the continuation of the fire department subject be covered under boards and committee updates, because Eric and DE are members of the committee that was assigned to work in finding out more information about the fire department
Well,
issues.
DE just said that he wasn't prepared because that's not what that is.
He's one member of the committee, Eric is the other.
No.
Eric
I'm
is
more than prepared. I can just talk. I like to talk.
So if we,
How about if we have a special study session?
no?
Because, I mean, I'm not ready to talk
I would
tonight.
like to go to
Sorry?
public comments, and I would like to do it.
I absolutely want to hear public comment.
Right after the public comments, we're going to have this discussion.
If I may chime in here, we also have a meeting set up, you, I, and whomever else wants to attend, with the fire department coming this Thursday morning at 8 o'clock.
Wait a second. Not whoever else wants to attend. We can't have board members there. That's why I wanted to do a special study session.
It is a complete meeting with agenda and notes.
We should have
With
thought
more
of
than
this
four.
before the president's message was issued.
More than 4.
Are you talking about just having a special
No,
meeting?
he's saying there's a meeting set up for this Thursday. Anybody can attend at the, fire station or here. It's not a published meeting. We can't have more than 4 there.
Well, they can
4.
attend. I consider it, I advise against having too many council people there
Okay.
because of the Open Meetings Act, but the residents of
The residents.
residents.
can
The
come.
residents
Green
can-
Farms.
Well, would 2 be okay?
I won't.
Well, there would be,
Two board
there'll be
members,
2 of
'cause
us
it's just
there.
Eric and
There was
DE.
2 at the last meeting,
Yeah.
which we've had no update
Yeah.
on.
Well,
which I would like an
That's
update
wrong.
from your
That is
meeting.
not true.
We had meetings
Jamie and Bill
published.
were both there, and again, we were just said that she hadn't had an update. Jamie and Bill, who sit in this office, were both there. And Jamie put out a set of minutes from the meeting to this entire council.
A detailed set.
Which
That's
the
right.
fire
So, I don't
department
know
would like
what-
to adjust, so
That's
those are
fine.
not approved yet.
That's fine.
That's correct.
But
they
don't
are not.
say that you haven't been updated when you have.
That's right.
You've gotten the minutes, I've gotten the minutes, everybody sitting up here got the minutes.
So there's a
And you
motion.
know, one of the reasons why we got the minutes, first of all, Jamie was nice enough to volunteer to do it. And then I personally made sure that they got distributed so that we wouldn't be saying that we weren't updated. We were updated. Everybody on this council was updated.
I think it's totally appropriate that this discussion continue under the agenda item of board and committee updates. And this would be a committee update in which Eric is prepared to make some comments.
I don't have a legal issue with that.
Okay, then I make the motion that the discussion continue under that item.
Does it need a motion?
Pardon?
So does it need a
You
motion?
don't need a motion.
All right, then, so the discussion will continue during the course of this.
I look forward to it. Public comment not on published agenda?
Good evening. I'll try to say it in 3 minutes, Lisa. Stephen Coyle, 30180 Bristol Lane. I've been a member of the Franklin Bingham Fire Department for 30 years, and I'd like to speak about this movement of contracting the fire services to Bloomfield Township. Our department has 24 volunteers, 8 of whom either live and/or work in the 2 villages or adjacent. Our volunteers have the exact same training as all other firefighters and EMTs that are licensed by the state of Michigan. Our training involves not just the initial academies, but continuing education that is offered both within and external to the department. Our department has trained and certified state instructors. All of our volunteers are trained to full proficiency in the operation of every apparatus that we own. In other words, any volunteer can drive and operate any piece of apparatus. This is different from career departments where they limit this function. We regularly train on relay pumping, which involves using multiple apparatus to move water over long distances. This is important for Bingham Farms because of the long setbacks that we have for each of the homes, requiring water to be transported long distances. On the EMS side, we're licensed as full basic life support, plus we have some special programs that we are enrolled in that expand this function to things such as drawing our own epinephrine. By being in the community,
I'm sorry, did you say you have your own epinephrine?
Yes. By being in the community, our volunteers offer a quick response. Even one volunteer can do many things. They can arrive and size up the situation and create a plan of attack so that this plan can be executed immediately upon the arrival of the apparatus. They can also perform some mitigations. 2 examples of some mitigations that we did just in the last few years is, the first is one of our volunteers arrived and a reported structure fire. There were flames showing the house appeared to be on fire. The volunteer determined that the fire was actually 2 lawn tractors that were inside of the garage. This volunteer removed the tractors and prevented the fire from spreading to the remainder of the structure. Another example is that an early arriving volunteer determined that a patient was in cardiac arrest. This volunteer moved the patient from a bed to a hard surface and initiated CPR, which saved the life of that patient. Some other things that one volunteer can do are dislodge objects from a choking victim, insert an airway into a victim with a compromised airway, supply Narcan to an overdose victim, control critical blood loss, including the application of a tourniquet. Having volunteers allows us also to support large-scale incidents without having to call for mutual aid. If we have a large-scale ice storm that requires a very high volume of response to make sure that each and every of the power lines is safely secured. Changing our service to Bloomfield Township will remove the use of all these volunteers. We bring a very special training and can respond to emergencies in a quick period of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Done.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Youssef. I'm a firefighter paramedic here with the Franklin Bingham Fire Department. I've been here for about 9 years. Outside of here, I specialize in anesthesiology. I work as a physician with a pediatric anesthesiology subset as well. Prior to this, I worked for about 15 years as a paramedic, and there's additional paramedics on this fire department who can specialize and take care of patients just as well as Bloomfield Township can. Thank you. While our full-time staff is crucial to the success of this day-to-day fire department and operations, the backbone of this department is our volunteers. We are here 24/7 and we are ready to respond to any incident and numbers in excess of career fire departments. We are here because we want to be. The men and women in this department are passionate, committed individuals, and we bring unique experiences and skill sets we can all learn from. Amongst us are business owners, landscapers with hands-on knowledge on heavy equipment and dangerous tools, engineers, IT specialists, professionals, and others as well. Because of this, we are able to provide a large range of services to the Bingham community. One of our most recent additions, as you know, is basic level transport capabilities, where we're able to deliver safe, professional care during medical emergencies to ensure timely transport to area hospitals for definitive treatment. Some of these patient populations include critical patients such as stroke patients and trauma patients, where the data shows the difference between advanced and basic services is extremely minuscule, and these patients instead require a surgeon or a medical intensive care unit to be transported to quickly. One of the most gratifying aspects of what I do here at this fire department is to have patients within this community and to be able to take care of them in the hospital the following day. And I've done that 2 times so far, where we placed a pacemaker and taken care of a hip fracture patient. Like my colleagues, I deeply care about this community. We are honored and proud to wear this uniform and to serve our neighbors during one of their most vulnerable moments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
You go ahead.
Good evening. There were some comments directed towards myself personally in the fire department. I would ask, would you care that I respond now, or should I wait until the fire department meeting? I'll leave it up to the council.
You can do it now.
Okay. So the fire department I have heard a number of things that were said. There are some things I agree with. There are some things I absolutely do not agree with. This is not the forum to discuss the back and forth, nor is the setup of public comments attributable to a two-way conversation. So I'll get to that in a moment. This fire department has provided service to Bingham Farms for well over 4 decades. We remain committed to the health, the safety, and the welfare of the villagers, of their homes, their properties, the transients, workers that are employed in our businesses, as well as those that are driving through. We strive for continuous improvement in all that we do. We do this through learning, through training, through exercising, as well as through responding. We work together within a mutual aid group of 29 other fire departments, just as Bloomfield Township works together in their mutual aid group of 11 or 12. Needless to say, we all work together to strive toward the best outcomes that are possible. Our goal is to provide the best care for those that are entrusted to us. We have welcomed in the past opportunities to discuss issues pertaining to the service that we provide, and we continue to look forward to those discussions. And as the conversation continues, we also encounter a tremendous amount of misinformation that's provided and being shared. This misinformation does not reflect the facts, and it does not accurately represent the men and women, including myself, of the department. We are honored to be of service. We look forward to the meeting on Thursday, and we look forward to any questions that any resident has as pertains to our capabilities, our dedication, our involvement. And I would also say, based on our budget increases to hire people, we definitely look forward to village residents that are seeking opportunities to volunteer in that regard. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Jan Friedman. I live at 32535 Bingham Road. I'm here to discuss some things that I've heard rumors about, and I'd like to know answers to, and I'm concerned about what's happening in the last couple of years with the character of the village. There have been, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, there have been things going on that in the regulations say they have to have approval. And as far as I know, the 4 things that I'm going to mention to you have not had approval. It starts out with several years ago at the corner of the northeast corner of Bingham Road, where the northeast corner interjects with Bingham Road. There are 2 sheds that have never got, as far as I know, have never gotten approval. They're not covered by any trees. They completely go against the character of the village. When I walk out of my house, that's what I see. Just grass and 2 sheds, and the 2 sheds don't even match, let alone have something to do with the house, which I thought was part of the regulations. That's number 1. The other thing is, at the corner of Old Orchard Trail and Bingham Road, on the let's see, which corner did I have that on? The northeast corner, no, the northeast corner is the sheds. There's a home on the east side of the street. It would be the southeast corner. That has 4 fountains, or 1 huge fountain and 3 other statues. So that's 4 statues. I thought, I don't know, did they get approval on that?
You know I can't go back and forth,
Huh?
but you know I can't go back and forth.
Oh,
But there's
okay.
lots of houses
Well,
in the
I'd
village
like
that
to
have
know
statues.
if they,
Lisa,
you know, if
you say you can't go back and forth, you shouldn't go back and forth.
Right. Go ahead.
I shouldn't go, okay, I shouldn't
Go
ask a
ahead.
question.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't
Go ahead,
ask
Jane.
Well,
don't
I'm
ask a question.
concerned about what's going on because the character of the village is supposed to be natural. And now all of a sudden, I'm seeing things go on that I never saw before. The fountain is huge with wings, and it doesn't have anything to do with Bingham Farms. And the other 3 statues are a little bit smaller, but they're scattered. Okay, that's another concern. I've heard rumors about fences. I don't know if there's been any conversation, but I'm just bringing that up. Bingham Farms has never allowed fences. I heard a rumor that they're putting up a vegetable garden in the front of a house with a fence around it. And I'm just telling you what I'm hearing in the community. And the 4th thing, I think this has been brought up before, there's a huge problem with deer. I've lived here for almost 27 years. For 20 years, we were okay, but the deer are doing a lot of destruction in the village, and I think we should do something about it. And basically, I just feel, looking around the village, that it's just out of control, that things are going on, lots are being clear-cut to build houses, and it just doesn't go along with the character of the village.
Thank you. I'm going to get up from the floor a minute.
I'm Maggie Van Camp. I live on Bristol Court. I just have one item. You were elected to be the voice of the village. There's 1,200 people about living in the village, 930 voters. How many have you talked to that want to do this with the fire department? Because it isn't the voice of the people. You would have to have 600 people to back you to be the voice of the people.
No. No, that isn't my fault. I'll take it.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Ducombe, and I live on Bristol Lane. I'm here tonight to present my thoughts regarding the possibility of changing our contract with the Franklin Fire Department to the Bloomfield Township Department. I'm greatly distressed that this has been discussed only behind closed doors, as you all have discussed. This will have a huge impact on the people you were elected to represent. Since this impact is so great, I find it very alarming that you have not requested community input. If it is strictly a financial decision, I believe the public is smart enough and would understand this, and there would appear to be no need to hide behind closed doors. Operating in secrecy breeds distrust and anger. My hope is that the board will reverse their current course and start including the voices of the residents in the decision as to whether we continue with Franklin or move to Bloomfield Township. For the record, I would be extremely upset if this move were to occur. On a personal note, the Franklin Fire Department has responded to not one, but unfortunately 6 911 calls to my home during the time I have lived in this community. Twice were for fires, and 4 times for severe medical situations. They came extremely quickly, were very professional, and did their best to address the situation and give a sense of calm during my trying times. My neighbor Steve volunteers for the Franklin Department. Living across the street meant I had help within a couple of minutes, which was incredible. He has helped so very many people on our street in a time frame that could never be matched by Bloomfield Township. It would be nothing short of a travesty to lose this valuable asset.
Yes.
My name is Bruna Guerlot, and I live on Bristol Lane. And my questions are somewhat related to the others. I'll just read them. I usually watch the live stream of the council meetings from my house. Tonight I'm here with questions about possible changes to fire service. After the February closed-door session and without any discussion, the council voted to explore alternative options for fire service. This was the first I'd heard about the Bingham Franklin leaving the department. I expected to see the topic on the March agenda. Instead, it was only addressed during the public comments by the fire chief. He clued listeners in that Bingham Farms had contacted Bloomfield Township with the idea of contracting fire services. Bloomfield Township discussed the idea at their council meeting. It's now April, and I thought possible changes to fire service would be on the agenda. It sounds to me like an important topic, yet it's not part of tonight's agenda. I did an online search and I found Bloomfield Township's website has a page labeled Latest News. They're seeking resident input regarding the proposal to provide fire service to Bingham Farms. That article is dated April 20th, which was last Monday. It even includes a 26-minute video on the topic. The video focuses on how the agreement affects Bloomfield Township residents. Who is preparing information on how such a change might affect Bingham Farms residents? Why are we being kept in the dark? We deserve answers to questions like what prompted the decision to look elsewhere for fire service? Have other communities been contacted? What is the council thinking right now? And how would this change affect residents in an emergency? We shouldn't have to search the internet for answers. We shouldn't have to learn what our council is doing from neighboring community websites. Please make a plan to communicate with residents about possible change to fire protection. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is David Huff. I live on Bingham Lane. Lisa, you used the word transparency. I'm sorry, but that's not the word that I would use if I describe how you have run the things. My wife and I have personally experienced Bingham Farms and the Franklin Fire Department responses 6 times since we've lived here. 4 of those were from my in-laws. They were all 911 calls. 2 times were from my wife and myself. First when I was hit on Bingham Lane by a speeding driver who flipped my car up against a tree. It just happened to end up in my in-laws' front lawn. I sustained injuries and I was serviced by Bingham Farms Fire Department. My wife was also the recipient of their care at 2 o'clock in the morning several years ago. when she had an emergency. In all of these cases, it was Bingham Farms Fire Department that took care of us, and they were fast, and they were immediate, they were professional, and I personally feel beholden to them. I am incensed to find out that a year ago you started working with Bloomfield Township to explore this, and yet it wasn't privy to us. I learned on March the 15th, when I'm a surfer, when I was looking at the downtown publications of Birmingham Township, Birmingham Bloomfield Downtown Magazine, when I learned that their trustees had been in talks with Bingham Farms. Again, transparency, absolutely not. I am incensed with what's going on behind our backs, and this is not the first time this has happened in situations in this council.
Anybody else?
Good evening, council and residents. My name is Elena Berg. I'm the field or district representative of Congresswoman Tlaib. Just wanted to come by the meeting so you all know who I am, and also to remind you that we do assist residents with local concerns they have, as well as any federal issues you might have. So that's issues with the Veterans Affairs, Social Security, Medicare. You can call our office at 313-463-6220. Recently, or in the past few months, the Congresswoman has introduced legislation, including the Head Start for America's Children Act, which is looking to put more funding into Head Start to get like 11 million children off the wait list, provide some more money so educators can get paid better, and to provide money to facilities so that way they can do necessary renovations. She has also recently started the Environmental Justice Caucus with a couple of other congressional members. This caucus is looking to work with local leaders, organizations, and grassroots activists to ensure that environmental justice concerns and harms that are affecting residents are being addressed. And the Congresswoman is having a Know Your Rights training on May 6th, that's next Wednesday, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. At the Dearborn Ford Performing Arts Center on Michigan Avenue. You can call our office to get some more information. Again, the phone number is 313-463-6220. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Do you allow commentary for individual new business items? Or can we only comment that?
You mean you want to comment during the item?
Yeah.
Which item?
The Old Stage Coachlight road improvements.
Yeah, I feel like you should do that. I mean, you could do it now, but we do have a representative from our engineering firm
That
here
would be
who's
best,
going to speak.
because I've seen no plans. That's
Right, so
great.
if you can wait till we get to that topic, that would probably, you're sitting right next to him.
That would be best. Some communities won't allow anything except at the beginning.
Yeah. We do.
So I get it.
Yeah.
You think we can see?
Yeah. Is there anybody else?
A lot of what I'm Carol Osman, I live on Bristol Lane. A lot of what I've been thinking has already been said, but I just want to kind of reiterate that we really like the local people that we have, the fire, the EMTs, the police. They travel down our streets, they know us, they know that if somebody calls from a house, oh, that's where so-and-so lives, and they have a heart trouble, or that's where so-and-so lives, they're allergic to bees. You know, they've gotten to know us over the years. It's very comforting to know that the people literally know who we are. They know where our house is. They don't have to stop and look for addresses because a lot of the houses are far back. And, you know, the people that we have around here know where we are. And I think they can get there faster. They do a great job. I personally know so many people that have, it's already been talked about a little bit, the person who pulled the tractors out of the garage and saved a house from burning down because he was there in 2 minutes. Or the person who had a heart attack and would have died. And he didn't because this guy guy got there in 2 minutes, and he actually got a commendation for getting there and saving the guy's life. I mean, those things are important, that they're on our street or in our neighborhood and they're close by. And I know if you look at Telegraph and the traffic at rush hour, how long is it going to take for a police or a fire or an ambulance to get from the other stations? And from what I understand, if the call goes to station 1, and if 1 is busy, it goes to 2, and if 2 is busy, it goes to 3, and if 3 is busy, it goes to 4, which is almost down by Costco. We don't want to wait that long for, and again, this is things that I've been told. I don't know them 100%, but I'm going by what I've been told, that, you know, it could be a long time before we have people, whereas now we have people immediately who are there, they're dedicated. They're actually doing it, the EMTs are doing it for free, literally. I mean, they do it because they love it and they care about us. And then what about the cost of changing to the different fire station? I mean, they're unionized workers from what I understand. Again, I'm just getting a lot of information, and I don't know that 100% of it is correct, and I couldn't hear what was being said at the beginning because I was out in the hallway. So I apologize if some of it's overlapping or not what you guys already talked about. But I just feel like it's just so good to have our people and our people close. And then, you know, what about the extra money it's going to cost to join the other one? Do we know what that is? Does anybody know what it's going to cost? I think that's something ahead of time people would need to know too. But I've talked to a lot of people about this, walking the street and on our street, and I haven't found one person who thinks it's a really good idea. And I agree with what a few other people said, that, you know, you guys please take into account that you're representing us, and all of these people are here because we don't, well, I'll say 90% at least of these people are here because they don't want to change. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Hello, my name is Amrita Singh. I'm at 29555 Bristol Lane. I'm new to the discussion or the topic, like a couple hours new to it, so I'm very impartial, and I guess my comment would be, yes, transparency would be helpful. So a lot of us want to even understand what the shortcomings and failings have been from our current situation, so we can even understand why we're exploring. And I think we understand it's a business as well. And so I think hopefully at some point, if all these things can be public, costs and failings, and hopefully our current fire department will be open to putting forth also proposals of what they can do better, and then whichever way it goes, I think it just needs to be a very open and transparent situation.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you all for your public comments. I do want to remind people, if you do have direct questions, you can always call the office, especially out of your questions could be answered by the office. And so always feel free. Unfortunately, because of the Open Meetings Act and the way meetings are structured, this can't be a back and forth. But we've all listened to everything that you had to say, so we appreciate that. There's nobody else? Okay, we're going to move to discussion topics, and that's the Police Department Monthly Report.
Okay, I'll be brief. I don't think these people are here to hear me talk. In front of you have our report for the past month. We've also included the second quarter of our co-responder. She responded once to Bingham Farms, once to Franklin. She spent a great deal of the month in training. I can tell you we've used her twice in the last week. One a suicidal subject, another a commitment today. So she's been very useful to myself and my officers, so I think it's a great investment, and I'm glad to have her. So unless you have any other questions regarding the report that I submitted, I will exit stage right.
One comment and maybe a question. I noticed in your report that you got a letter from the Bloomfield Township Supervisor?
West Bloomfield.
It was West Bloomfield. But he didn't mention in there what you guys had done for them. Do you have a comment? I'd love to hear your comments on that.
So I was actually at lunch with the West Bloomfield chief when he got the call of what was occurring at Temple Israel. I was the deputy chief at West Bloomfield for quite a long time, so I was kind of a liaison over the phone with them a little bit to their command staff. We had several officers en route to Temple Israel, but we ended up redirecting them to other temples and synagogues to protect those synagogues because we weren't exactly sure what was occurring, with I guess you'd say the fog of war at the beginning. So basically our interaction with them was kind of at a distance. We didn't have any officers on scene, but just from my experience, and I was able to maybe give them some advice, but they handled the situation amazingly. Security on site was awesome, and there's actually over 600 officers that responded to that scene. So,
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Good
Do you want to stay?
Yep, apparently I'm staying.
We have we need to set the public hearing date for the police SAD for 26-27. So I don't know if you just want to say what.
Sure, just a reminder what the SAD is a special assessment district, which is our commercial district along Bingham Farms there. It was established back in 1986, and what was occurring back then when I was in high school was there was vehicles being stolen, there was larcenies within the building, so they decided that that district wanted to pay for 2 full-time officers. And so up until even right now, we have 2 officers that are dedicated to liaison with the business owners, the managers, and the tenants there. And they're instructed to use community policing and problem-oriented policing to solve problems within that district. And we've seen since 1987 up until now a very low crime rate, where we have literally thousands of people that are coming to work every day. So it just, we appreciate them. We appreciate that they're paying for 2 of our officers, and I'm happy to report this year that we're, again, they're going to pay about 1% less than they did the year before. So we're able to keep those costs down for them, but we do appreciate the business owners for their support.
Yeah.
Any questions with that? Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to say something?
I was going to say the date's set for May 18th if approved, but we'll need a motion and then I'll take a roll call.
Would anybody like to offer the resolution for the public hearing?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your head
If
was
someone would like to make a motion to pass the resolution to set the public hearing, and then a second, and I'll do a roll call.
I move that we, yeah. Thank you.
For May 18th.
Yeah, May 18th.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Blackburn?
Aye.
Hageman?
Aye.
Michigan?
Aye.
Jerome?
Aye.
McAlexander?
Aye.
Miller? Absent. Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the Fire Department monthly report.
Good evening again. You've also received our written report. Only one thing to add, and this actually was our last call before the meeting started tonight. As a reminder, for those that have the emergency alert, the medical alert buttons, a lot of those buttons are related to internet-based communications. For those of you who travel between states at different times of year, have vacation homes, make sure that you update your address, please. The emergency alert that we received was in the village of Franklin, providing a GPS dot at an intersection, not a home. This dot is, according to previous runs, can go up to 1/8 of a mile in any direction as the crow flies. And the nearest registrant was in Chicago, Illinois. They didn't pick up the phone. We went house to house to search, couldn't find anyone to either answer the door or in need. But I would just say as a reminder, because technology is so wonderful, there is the opposite side of making sure that you understand what you're using. Thank you. And pending your questions, that'll end my report. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Next is village manager's report.
Yeah, my report is in the packet. I would just like to point out, even though I did put this in my report, that the next meeting is May 18th, so it's a week early because of Memorial Day. So if everyone could just keep that in mind. And that's all I've got.
Any questions for Jamie? Next is Evgeny with the Administrative Economic Development Coordinator's report.
I do have my submitted report, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but I don't have any major announcements right now.
Are there any questions for Evgeny? No? Okay.
Didn't have any.
Okay, we'll move to board and committee updates. Let's get any other committee updates out of the way.
For fire department, we did meet last week. One of the things we talked about was we know that the fire department is a 501c4, and the fire department is now discussing that Eric had brought up, which was a great idea, and that we explore a 501c3, therefore able to cover a lot of the expenses that are in the annual report, or that is covered annually, so therefore it would be covered under another entity, which would be, I think, a good thing. Okay, I can't read my writing here. Also discussed was, kind of what was going on tonight, is the future of the Franklin Fire Department. So that concludes my report of the meeting we had.
And is it time for me to expand on that? Okay. So, as probably was obvious, I was pretty disturbed about what's transpired in the past few months as well. Clearly, everybody here was more than capable of taking care of themselves. So the comments were the comments. One of the things that came out of the discussions was that, because there was concern, was that DE and myself would schedule a meeting that's now turned into a second meeting, but a meeting with the fire department to address the concerns that had been brought up in closed session. So this was the way we were going to address the concerns directly with the fire department about what's been brought up in closed session. The first meeting was at 10 o'clock in the morning at the fire department on April the 16th. Because we had an agenda, which most meetings should, I want to go through that agenda and some of the things that transpired. First of all, we had individual introductions because I had literally met none of the fire commission other than Tony. I'd met Steve on one or two occasions. I didn't know the rest of the fire commission. Most of them were there. I think maybe one or two were missing, but most of them were there. So it was good to get introductions and know who they are. We also had opening comments. For me, one of the opening comments, and Dee was also made his opening comments. I think they were pretty aligned. Is to do a lot of what you guys said tonight. This fire department has served Bingham Farms admirably for decades and decades and decades. And they deserve our respect because they're volunteers for the most part. And they volunteer to do really dangerous things, like put their lives on the line to help us. So I think that recognition is critically important. And for me, it was the right way to start what could have been a very difficult meeting, and at times it was difficult. We talked about why we were there, but I just relayed to you guys that DE and I were selected to represent the council on things that had come out of these closed sessions and ways to perhaps resolve them. It would seem like to me, if there are problems, we would try hard to resolve them with a partner of 50 years before we just go somewhere else. So we did that. Then we had a first discussion because one of the big concerns so far has been the long response times for emergency medical services, meaning paramedics. I believe that would be the term. data that was presented for those long response times was data that's in Tony's report every month, and it's a trend line graph. And there was a misinterpretation of the trend line being used to say response times are unacceptable because the EMS trend line showed a graph that said from the low, this is a past 18-month graph, month by month, the lowest month was 24, the highest month was 45. So the concern was, why is it taking between 24 and 45 minutes to have EMS respond to an incident? That was not the graphic that was, we were reading it wrong. The truth of that graph is it was simply in any given month the number of EMS responses that were provided to the community. So that led into the discussion, though, why long EMS times, and that answered part of it. The next item on the agenda was, are the long response times attributable to the current model that we use in this village, and mostly volunteers? These volunteers are trained in things like firefighting, rescues, hazardous materials, basic life support. And as a village, we depend on them to provide that basic life support, and we depend on STAR EMS to provide advanced life support. So we discussed that model. By the way, as Lisa's already described the model at Bloomfield Township, where all the firefighters are paramedics, the vast majority, the model we use, by the way, is a very common model. It's a very accepted model, and most communities around us use the model of firefighters being basic life support and having other services respond as advanced life support. So it's a very common model. We can talk about if it's right or wrong for being involved, but the model's the model, and it's a widely accepted model of what we use. And based on the comments I hear tonight, it's worked well for individuals. So we went through that. We did talk about the surrounding communities and some of the models that they use as well. The question was posed, and we had a lot of discussion about it, is how do we work together to improve EMS response times? We talked about response times in general, whether they were emergency response times, non-emergency response times. I know more about the fire department than I ever thought I would know, because I asked to be educated, and Tony and the guys did a great job of educating me on what actually happens from the minute somebody makes a 911 call. And it's pretty extraordinary what happens if you listen to how it works. Then we had a whole, that kind of worked through one section of the agenda. The next section of the agenda was about budgets and planning. There's been concerns expressed that there's been a lack of transparency and responsiveness in questions regarding the budget. You've heard some of that tonight already. We addressed that very directly. Why can't we get the transparency that we believe we need to make sure that we can work together to understand the numbers? We talked about the new budget that's just been presented being a significant increase over prior years and not really seeing the associated improvement in services. We worked through a lot of those issues. Like I said, this discussion wasn't all a fun discussion. We had to have some serious, what are we getting for the extra money? We started, although we didn't finish, a line item review of the current budget submission. We want to better understand why the increases are being asked for, how we're justifying them. We talked about, then we went to another section, mid to long-term planning. Does the fire department conduct mid to long-term planning? That process was explained to us. We very clearly asked how we can work together to create a 5-year plan that we can mutually agree on a set of objectives. By the way, Franklin has to be involved in this as well because we both fund the fire department. So it seemed like a good way to say, can we develop a 5-year plan together that meets all of our agreed objectives? Then we just had a lot of open discussion on how to improve services and communication in general. So we didn't finish. We started at 10. It was almost 1 o'clock when we adjourned, and we set a second meeting to take place this Thursday. So we'll have a second meeting this Thursday. What I can say is, at this point in time, I can only speak for what I know. From what I've learned after literally spending hours in the meeting, hours talking to different people, trying to learn as much as I could, I have not found anything that rises to the level of ending this relationship. Nothing. And unless I find something, I can assure you that eventually, if it continues after this, it's going to have to go to a vote. But unless there's something that I don't know, I will never vote to walk away from this fire department. That's it.
So you mentioned the EMS response times. I do understand the graph, which is funny because I've talked to Tony multiple times about 40-minute response times for the ambulance, and he never said that's not what that graph is. So do we have the response times for the ambulance? Star?
Am I allowed to answer?
Well, do we have response times for Star?
Sorry, if you're asking me, that was one of the items that was in open discussion, and Tony promised us he would work to pull that together for us.
So we don't know response
I do
times
not
for
know
EMS?
that. No, I don't know that.
And the fire department doesn't know response times for Star EMS?
I don't know. I don't know that.
But you asked that question.
I did. And he said he would get it for us.
And, yeah, if I may chime in, he's probably still waiting to get response from them.
Yeah.
I think they have to compile it.
So what I'm saying is we
We
never
don't know
knew
yet.
the response
No, we
times
don't.
for actually advanced life
I
support.
don't know.
Kind of would rather have it be 40 minutes than have no answer at all. That's terrifying because I assume we're paying Star EMS?
I don't know how we can characterize this as terrifying.
Because we're paying a lot of money for advanced life support response, but how do we gauge if we're getting our money's worth if we don't know how long it takes them to get here?
And we've asked that question, and we will be given an answer.
I'm curious, when you say we're paying a lot of money, the village is? Because when I've had it multiple times for my husband, multiple, and I can tell you, they were there within 5 minutes, every time.
Star?
They were right behind him. The fire department was there, and Star pulled in, but they already started treating him.
Right, I'm just concerned that the fire department contracts with Star EMS. That's for advanced life support, so people that can administer medications, all of that. We don't know what the response time is for an actual ambulance that can administer medications and treat more serious injuries. And that, to me, is something that, an example of...
Scary.
Well, yeah, because
Can I tell you that you'll never know, because it depends upon how many calls they have and how many runs there are.
Right,
And
but
if you come in, if there's 4 ambulances in the field or a dozen ambulances in the field, and you're the 13th call, they're going to pull from another community. They'll find somebody else. They'll redirect it. They'll do their best to get to you. But the reality is, there are a lot of things that we're not going to control. But I don't know of anybody that's had that situation where nobody showed up.
I'm not saying they don't show up. I'm just saying it seems like if our contractor contracts with another company, our contractor should be tracking for our money how long it takes the ambulance to show up.
I thought I paid for the ambulance.
I think that's the way it works.
Yeah, you don't pay for it.
You
I pay for
reimburse
it.
the ambulance, but they contract with Star EMS.
Yeah, but you don't pay for it. The village doesn't pay for it.
That's right.
No, we do. It's my expense.
Can you answer this question?
Absolutely.
Do you pay Star?
No.
So you just contract with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
So can
Yeah.
anybody
This is
call
very-
them?
Can anybody call Star?
Yeah.
Any community?
Yes.
Yes.
That has a contract with them?
Regardless of if there's a contract, any community can request the service.
Right.
If you'd like, I'd like to address the time too, because it may help.
Well, I don't know. How do we want to handle this?
I'll let Tony handle it.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I want to have a work study session also, like I'm saying,
That's
with
fine,
the
but
fire
accusations have
department
been
and them.
flying. I think we need to hear this.
I'd like to hear from Chief Tillman.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with reference to transport, we are a licensed transport agency. We've been so since, I believe, June of 2025. And in a review of 2025 calendar year incidents in Bingham Farms, an internal review, 47% of our EMS calls to Bingham Farms were deemed basic life support. Not every run requires a paramedic call. Further, Beaumont Hospital, Corwell Health, Royal Oak, sorry, which is one of our two main receiving hospitals. The other is Henry Ford West Bloomfield. Beaumont is within, I'm told, 9 minutes response. So if there's an emergency, such as a stroke, paramedics will not support a definitive care facility. For a traumatic incident, they don't need a paramedic or a basic, they need a surgeon. And we have initiated in June, and we continue to provide transport services to the hospitals. We are just going off of our discussion last fall. We are in the final steps of Medicare. But your question is with reference to time. So I did ask the question of STAR, looking at calendar year 25, what is their average response time? STAR was able to sort their list of responses to Franklin and Bingham Farms. And they provided an average response time of 14 minutes. However, that information has not been passed on to the village because that information also includes what they term interfacility transports. Bingham Farms has Arden Courts, which is a memory care facility. Franklin has several other group homes. And so an interfacility transfer is not an emergency run. And as such, I was literally on the phone today with our contact at STAR to have them segregate the list, removing the interfacility transfers, because the fire department has nothing to do with an interfacility transfer. I await their response, and when I receive it, I will most certainly pass it on.
Thank you.
Sorry for the long answer, but hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
I do want to just clarify something for the council and the public, that I didn't start working with Bloomfield Township a year ago. I started working with Franklin a year ago. Franklin initiated that conversation. We had meetings over at Franklin for their concerns. So I did not initiate any sort of conversation with Bloomfield Township a year ago, and we are not in contract talks. Our attorneys haven't started contract. We are not in contract talks. We are exploring the option. That's what our motion was, and that's what we're doing, is exploring options.
Well, the problem, though, Lisa, is that you took action and you sent our manager to meet with them without even sharing it with the other trustees. We had no idea what was going on, and I'm really concerned about that. It can't happen anymore.
I say that when the agenda came out for February and for March, that there was a line item that said closed session for a confidential legal matter. I certainly didn't know, and I don't think anybody else on this council knew. When we walked into that closed session, we had any idea what it was going to be about. Zero. No.
Right, so the fire department has said multiple times to shop around. I was trying to get information together, and I don't know how we shop around without talking to Bloomfield Township. They could have said no. There's other communities that said no.
Just come to us.
Beverly Hills said no.
The first call you should have made was to all of the trustees. Whether, the next meeting, that should have been on the agenda.
Okay, fine.
So, no more. No more hiding things.
I was not trying to hide it. I was hoping it never came to fruition. But, I mean, Franklin has been very much involved in these conflicts too, so this is not just me. They started it. They also wanted to look into Bloomfield Township. So once it started, this is even a possibility, this is even something that we are actually going to consider, which I was hoping we would not even consider it, I came immediately to council. Should I have done it before the phone call? I don't know. But they could have said no, just like Beverly Hills.
But then the problem would have still existed. There was a problem, and there are many solutions. And we all have some pretty good ideas about finding solutions to serious problems. We've all had to do it in our careers. And I think it would be a really good idea to start sharing it before you send Jamie anywhere. And you should know, in the future, if anybody tells you to do that, you stop and say, well, let's have a meeting with council first. Please, please. Thank
I
you.
also think somebody needs to tell Bloomfield Township what it's just said. Because Bloomfield Township is educating all of their residents, as has been described in some of the videos, and getting prepared, I presume, for a public hearing and then a vote. So
We haven't even
must be-
gotten close to that. They know that we are very, very, very early on.
They are
Whatever they're doing, I have no control
That's not
over.
the feedback I'm getting.
Social media campaign as
Yeah.
we speak.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to slow them down too.
Two things I'd like to add. Eric, you put together a timeline as to what happened at Bloomfield Township versus closed session, what went on the newspaper, closed session, and so forth. And if any of you have looked at that video, as far as I was concerned, what Eric just said, and that it seems they're one vote away from saying, yeah, bring them on. My big concern is they're not going to do anything to add any firefighters, any paramedics, any apparatus, or anything. I don't know where their ladder truck is, so that would be a concern. Second concern on that would be, the only thing they talked about at the end of the video was they need a new fire station. So we would end up buying them a new fire station. What do we get out of it? I don't know. And then what's to say, even though a contract has been signed, when the fire station gets built and we've already given them $2-3 million, they just say, see you guys. We are up the creek without a paddle at that point. So that's another concern.
Were prices presented in any of this discussion?
The fire chief of Bloomfield Township has
We
done a
can't have a
presentation.
We can't go back.
Huh?
We can't have open discussions.
The answer is almost $10.9 million.
But that has not been discussed at all with
It's been
Bloomfield
discussed
Township.
openly at Bloomfield Township.
Yes.
It's in a presentation from Bloomfield Township. It's in a 27-minute video that somebody just referred to. It's out there.
Watch it.
Yes.
All you gotta do is look at it.
We've not negotiated anything.
Okay, I'm
We've
not
not
saying you have.
negotiated anything.
They're telling their residents what it.
We've not negotiated anything. That's the answer.
We need our roads fixed.
Yes.
Get our roads fixed.
That's on the agenda.
Phase 1 is done. Phase 2 will be starting in soon, very soon. And Phase 3 will be next year, the roads.
Eric, is there anything else on the committee report regarding the fire department? So we can conclude that.
Yep.
I feel like since everybody does feel so strongly about transparency, I think the next meeting should be open. I feel like it should be here, and it should be a scheduled meeting so that all of council can be involved, and the public can be involved, and the fire department can be involved, and we can have completely open and transparent conversation.
Which meeting are you talking about?
Thursdays.
They have one scheduled for
This Thursday.
this Thursday. I think that should be rescheduled so we can public notice it.
No, we'll have the meeting. If you want to do something after that, it's fine, but we've already planned the meeting. So do something after that, it's fine with me.
So you're going to have a closed meeting.
Anybody can go.
You can go. Anybody.
We can't go. We can't
but
all
anybody
go.
from the public can go.
We cannot all go.
No, the thing is, we
Anyone
can't
from the
sit in the...
public can go.
But we can't sit at the meeting and deliberate.
Right.
We can't vote, but we can sit and listen, Lisa.
That's right.
Come on. It's our fire department, for crying out loud. Well, tell her, Mike. Tell her.
That's correct, as long as you're careful that you're not getting anywhere near deliberation.
That's
You're
fine.
still citizens and you're entitled to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Getting chest
But
pains.
beware. Deliberation's easy to stumble into sometimes.
So are you changing the date, or is it this Thursday?
It's
Thursday
Thursday,
at 8 o'clock.
and the location is?
8 a.m.
Where?
8
The
a.m.?
fire station.
Here,
The fire station.
here. So I think it should be here, and I'll tell you why. Because the last meeting was 2 hours long, and 3 hours long, and 2 of our staff people were there for 3 hours. I have sort of a policy here that I don't think it's a good idea for any staff member to be in the office alone. It's just not safe with things that have gone on in this building. And so I would prefer if 2 staff people are going to be gone for hours and hours, I think it should be here so that at least our staff is here. At least somebody's here.
I don't think that's a good idea at all, because we can't handle a crowd, and it's important, this is with the fire department. This is not a village meeting, this is our representatives with the fire department. And it's their meeting to schedule. I don't understand interjecting and insisting that they come to where you are.
I'm sorry that I'm concerned about our staff. This is across the board. I don't even want a staff member going to lunch. I think the police chief would agree that it's not necessarily safe for one person to be sitting in an office for an extended period of time. It's a policy we have. I'm
Close the
saying it
office.
because I don't
Yeah.
want Jamie
Close
alone in
the
the
office.
office.
Well,
Yeah.
lock it. It's locked.
Yeah.
The office is locked.
No,
The
it's
office-
not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. The office is locked. You have to come in.
Lock it if you want to.
Yeah. You don't have to have an open office. You can see who's at the door. You can talk to them. I mean, there are ways to resolve the
So we'll
problem.
start locking the front door. Nobody's allowed in.
I
Call
have had
before
to
you
knock.
come.
I have had to knock the last several times I've come. It was locked. And you just mentioned the other week that you could lock the inner door?
Well, the inner door's always coded. I don't
The
recall
inner-
you having to knock once when I was personally in the office. I've never had to unlock that door for you.
Oh, yeah.
I've not had to.
Yeah.
I can't speak to others. I have never
And the
had to.
reason there is a locked door is because we had an incident. It's the same reason why the glass is there.
It's a good thing to do.
Somebody tried to come over the counter at a staff member.
No, I think it's a good thing to do. Safety first, at all times.
So will you put the meeting on the website so it can get out to the community?
Yes.
That's fine.
We have to publicly notice it. If there's at least people there, I assume. I don't know
That's
how
a
it's gonna
separate
run.
meeting, but this meeting on Thursday does not have to be publicly noticed.
Is that the fire station, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's more room there than here.
Okay, next, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just so I'm clear, we don't have to post it. Is there interest in posting it?
I mean, I feel like we should post it for other residents.
Put it on the website.
Put it on the
Yeah, okay,
website.
that's what I'm
She's
asking.
asking.
Yeah,
Do an email blast.
okay, that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
Next is ongoing business, and we're going to talk about the Timber Trail bollards.
Yes. I know, I'm excited about
I was
this.
like, if you want to come up, you can. Did you guys want me to connect the screen, or did you just want me
No,
to
we've got
summarize
it
the
online.
presentation?
Our presentation was included in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a presentation in the packet, if y'all didn't see it. Essentially, the bollards that we installed, which are flexible bollards, if you don't know, it's essentially a bollard that should be able to be driven over. After talking to the police chief a little bit, they would prefer not to drive over them.
Fire chief.
And the fire chief. I mean, a lot of people. They're not very good to drive over, so they don't need access to Timber Trail, which is now a walking path, in case you guys don't know. So we have a lot of options. We could use permanent bollards and other things. The reason we need to look at other options is some residents decided to steal the bollards. And we don't design things to not be stolen typically, especially in this sort of community, but this is a first for all of us. So we have a bunch of different options we could choose from. I know the board had given us a couple examples and we got some prices for those. Essentially, kind of a key aspect of a design is we don't want it to be able to be stolen, and ideally we would like it not to be able to be vandalized. So I put together a little cost estimate with a unit price, an approximate materials cost, and then an approximated labor cost for several options, and we just kind of wanted to put it with the board and see what you wanted us to do, because again, we don't really design things to not be stolen, but this is a first for us. So
Wouldn't a couple of 500, 800-pound boulders do the same thing?
it sure would.
You know, know, I'm just saying, instead of paying to have you do all this research, if you want something that a car's not going to go over and isn't going to be moved or stolen, putting in the back of a pickup, let's just buy some big boulders. Might be cheaper.
You could certainly put a big boulder there. I would just worry about cracking the new path. I mean, obviously a 500-pound boulder. Just the things you think about, like you're putting a point load on brand new asphalt. So.
Well, let's say that trucks and cars are going over it that weigh several thousand pounds and seem to be getting to the other end. So I don't think a couple boulders can do that much.
Right.
But whatever.
Well, I had sent to Jamie what I saw at 12 Oaks Mall, and they one of the things that you had in there was the cast-in-place pyramid style, and to me that made a lot of sense. It's kind of classy looking. My only problem with the boulder is it looks like somebody left a boulder in the middle of the road.
Well, they did, because I'm so cheap. I don't want to spend it on that. I want to be able to pay
I don't want to
for the
spend it
roads,
either, but at the
you know?
same time, I want to, how do I say this, throw in the face the people that stole the ballards. Say, no, you're not going to go there, and this is going to be permanent, and basically, you can't drive up and down the road, dummy. So,
as Jan said, we're a very natural, very organic place to live.
Then the other thing would be
Boulders are perfect.
The only other thing would be planters, but then who's going to take care of the planters? Put in some hostas and the deer will take care of it. Not a problem.
Okay.
But I also like the idea of the one thing about using a planter and/or a K-rail style planter is that you could move it with a high-low if it needed to be, and obviously no on gates. I think gates would be very silly.
Agree.
That's my take.
I'd say no on gates, no on planters, and otherwise I don't care. I'm with you. I don't understand why people are stealing them, and I don't understand why people are driving up. Did we get signs put up yet by the police department?
Yes.
Yeah, those are up now.
Is it continuing to this day? People are...
That'd probably be a police department question. But last time I was there, one of the bollards that was stolen, they set back. There's still, I believe, 2 that are still stolen, and just a very bizarre.
They returned one?
They returned 1.
They
Then you said there's like some of the bolts are gone.
Yeah, like the bolts are, like someone tried to remove one of them and couldn't and just left.
Yeah.
So it's a very,
Well, I have a question regarding the concrete pillar, or the pyramid-style bollards.
Yeah.
Is there enough room to go along the side of the road with a vehicle, even if they were put on the trail?
Not if it's a deep ditch.
Well, is there enough room is what I'm asking.
So that is something that we've talked about. So the issue is that right now they were to remove the end bollards so that they could kind of easily drive in. I mean, they're still driving in a decently deep ditch that had fresh turf that they're just tearing up. So, I mean, we've talked about planting a tree, staggering trees, maybe putting like a large, large stone there, because it's like we have to think a design that is completely undrivable. But then you have the issue of maintenance, right? Because we want a mower to be able to get there, so we need a distance that could allow a mower to cut the grass, but wouldn't allow a vehicle. So there's a lot of design thoughts that we don't usually have to do when you're designing a trail that have now become a present issue for us.
Well, I haven't seen a car. My house faces Timber Trail, and I haven't seen a car drive there in a while.
I'm happy to hear that, because the picture in the presentation was when I was walking the path doing an inspection, car almost hit me.
Yeah.
And I got a photo and a video. And then they drove back once they had gotten whatever they needed. So
there has been video of a vehicle, but we don't know who the vehicle belongs to. It's got to be a resident.
That's more of a police department question. I'm just an engineer.
So we can't have, again, back and forth, but so let me go back. So yes, we put in the flexible bollards so that in case an emergency vehicle needed to get back there, it was decided emergency vehicles don't need to get back. Then the bollards got stolen. And so even then, like, there were police barricades, so people are now driving around and going down in the ditch, like, and on
And
the
they
grass.
stole the police barricades, too.
Oh, they stole the police barricades too. So they're going around and tearing up the grass and making big ditches. And it's not safe. And that what was paved there is not meant to hold a
No.
car either. Like you were saying, the 500-pound, we didn't put down what would hold a vehicle.
Right.
We've made it into a walking path. So the road is not meant to have vehicles riding on it. So we want to come up with something that looks nice, but stops traffic. And we did now put the signs up so the police can ticket. Because before, even if they drove around and down, if there's not a sign telling you that you're not allowed to drive around the bollards and down in the ditch, it's hard to ticket them. So now we have signs up that will allow a ticket to be given if they're caught. And so what Ray and I had talked about, and Ray suggested, is possibly, like if we planted trees or something in the ditch, it would only have to be at one end. Because if they go in, they can't get out.
Right.
So you could still get, a mower or something if you had to get it back there. But a car, even if they drove around, they couldn't get out the other end because we could have trees or something in the ditch there. We just have to make sure that it's something that, we don't want to ruin the ditches.
Right.
We just paid a lot of money for the ditches.
For sure.
And so, the trees, and then you got to worry about the water in the ditch, because that's what the ditch is for, but we could try to come up with something to at least block one end, so if they went in, they couldn't get out. We also think that it might be delivery people. So people's GPS is taking them that way, and if you're driving for, I think I've seen UPS go down there, or the mail people have gone down there, cars have gone down there, probably DoorDash. If their GPS tells them to go there, they're gonna go around. So now we also have signs directing them to Old Orchard to go around.
And the interesting thing is there's the yellow tape up there now that's connecting it, and nobody's messed with the yellow tape.
Right.
It's still intact. And I keep thinking, how, they're stealing the bulbs, and yet they don't mess with the yellow string stuff. It's crazy.
So
maybe we don't need anything other than the.
It's a cost-effective option. Better yellow
I'm
tape.
throwing it out there as a suggestion.
We've had a complaint about the yellow tape.
It's pretty ugly, actually.
So,
But it's effective.
It looks like a crime scene, which I guess
It was a crime scene. Yeah, it was a crime scene.
Yeah, it was, officially.
Yeah.
So I would like to make a decision tonight so that we can get this project moving and get it up there as quick as possible so that we don't have more people damaging that road. And
The
especially
cheapest
people
are the
will start
concrete
walking.
pyramids, or the
Additional-
permanent.
Additional note on the GPS and delivery and other vehicles. I have contacted USPS after we received a report of a mail truck going down there, so they're aware that one of their employees did that, and they must have taken appropriate action. I've also contacted Google Maps. If you look it up on there, it is not shown as a road anymore. They went a little overboard and I'm trying to get them corrected because they showed it as a trail all the way to the end. But point is, GPS, if somebody's using Google Maps, should not be taking them there.
And I did Apple Maps too. I submitted a report. So Apple Maps is fixed. It just, a lot of these apps is like internal software like Grubhub. I think things like that. They're not just running like Apple or Google Maps. But we're trying.
Right.
We're trying.
Yeah, and it's silly and we're joking about it, but it's costing the taxpayer dollars.
Right.
It's costing you all money. So we're kind of upset about it. But, it seems like people are veering toward the pyramids.
Yeah, I would.
That's fine.
I think the
Works
idea,
for
you guys
me.
like the idea, Jen?
Yeah.
So everybody knows it's $8,800.
And the one thing I will say about the pyramids, if someone was to tag it up, depending on what kind of, if we chose an exposed aggregate versus standard concrete, you do want to consider those sort of costs, just to think about.
So if
I don't
somebody
think someone,
hits it.
yeah, if someone, for example, you have a plow smashes into it, nicks a chunk out of it, that is a cost to consider. That's why a lot of communities do pick kind of the sleeved bollards, or it'd be encased pipe or encased concrete, and then they put a decorative sleeve, because those could be
So
replace
you're
the
talking
sheet.
about the one right above it, the permanent bollards with locked covers? at
Correct, which
8,000?
there's a million different designs and colors and shapes and sizes of that. It's just something to think about.
Well, then I'm
Y'all
fine
could-
with that.
Yeah, that might be a
The
better
only thing
solution.
I worry about with that is that they're just gonna cut the lock and take the sleeve, maybe.
Which is true.
Because it's literally just a,
Yeah, it's like
it's like a,
it is.
But you still have
School
concrete
locker
behind
lock.
it, though.
pardon?
Yeah, imagine just the sleeve sitting on a concrete cylinder.
So you still have a buried concrete cylinder.
Yes.
Correct.
Sleeve
Yeah.
on it.
So there's a bollard there no matter what.
So they're not going to be able to move that unless they
Yeah.
want to damage their
Correct.
vehicle.
Yes.
Is the bollard the whole length of the sleeve? Is the concrete piece the whole length of the sleeve?
So the concrete will be embedded probably 42 inches below grade. This way, it's like we'll have to open cut the section. They'll cast concrete and they'll cast the bollard about 42 inches deep, and then you'll place a sleeve over that concrete bollard. So you could swap the sleeves out. Say they start like wearing out over time, or a truck
I
hits
guess
it.
my question is, if that sleeve does not have underneath it a
It
great
does.
big piece of concrete all the way to the top?
It does.
How far from the ground to the top of the bollard is the concrete?
I guess it depends on the height of the bollard that you want. So usually like 3-4 feet. So it'll be like 3 feet high,
So the
and then the bollard
concrete-
sits directly on top.
Yeah.
So the
Okay,
bollard's
all right.
Cement will be in the whole
3.25. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
that's the question.
Yep. Sorry, misunderstood.
There's a decorative cover that is replaceable, that's
Okay.
maintainable
Yes.
over time, that doesn't have to be replaced if it.
So that's the only downside to doing like a permanent bollard, like a concrete spear or a concrete pyramid, is if it gets nicked up or if someone vandalizes it. It's
And graffiti, yeah.
exactly kids,
Yep.
you know. So
They do push the snow
Yeah.
to them down that little tiny bit.
of a roadway,
Of roadway,
which makes sense
so-
because it's not a road anymore, so it's a
Right.
good spot
They have
for it.
somewhere to push the snow, so I do worry about the plow hitting it.
Yep.
Yeah, those are
I
fun.
like the maintainable over time aspect of it.
Okay, so it sounds like we are leaning now toward the permanent bollard with locked covers.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
$8,000
For all four?
for all 10 of them.
So it'd be
Oh, 10 of them on both ends, yeah.
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 Okay, 5.
This one, not this one, because the covers are replaceable if they get damaged or vandalized. There's a concrete underneath. It's all
Yes.
concrete dug into the ground.
Just as a point of reference, Jamie and I were both on a virtual meeting with Oakland County Water Resources. We do have a water main that travels down Timber Trail. So any decision that you make needs to take into account utility access, just in case.
Thank you.
That's important.
There is a water main, and there's also sanitary as well. A sanitary. So
So if we have permanent bollards,
So do we do the far end differently than we do, does traffic generally originate from Bingham Road as opposed to Hickory Hollow side?
If one's permanently blocked, it doesn't matter which one, because then they're stuck, whichever way they go.
No, they can come in and out the same way.
they get back
For
up.
emergency services.
Oh, the WR,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For
thought you were saying
no, yeah, you're saying at one end put more of them, and at the other end put less, that they could get
Right.
if they
Yeah,
need to
it's-
maintain water main or whatever,
Yeah.
they can come in from
We
the
don't
back
want-
you
end.
could put on once.
We don't have to want to wait a few days if we're out of water.
Right.
Yeah,
I-
but-
Well, the other solution to that would be you have permanent bollards on one end,
Right.
and then you have movable, i.e. K-rails or something that they could bring in a high-low.
Or a gate.
Have it, I wouldn't go gate, but
No.
I would,
That's immediate.
with a K-rail, I mean, or something along that has literally built-in 2 poles in it that you can slide a high-low in, pick up and move. Just got back from a Grand Prix, and they were moving that stuff like you wouldn't believe. So it's easily movable once you have the proper equipment. So if something did go wrong, they could move those units, depending on what end of the road you want to use them. So now you have a semi-permanent material that could be moved if that kind of emergency pertained. That might be even the better solution.
Do you think they would need to get to that?
To the water main, it's probably a good idea to have some sort of access. I mean,
Immediate, yeah.
it's,
There's
not
a, under the lock gate system, it says allows for emergency access.
Yeah.
that would be a benefit. But in the case that you get a water main break, for example,
I put that in the back end.
I think it's not a bad idea to have removable bollards on one side and the other, because if they could drive all the way to the end, they're not really getting their end goal. But there's the concerns of, well, if they made it that far, they'll just drive it around in a ditch and then go in. So
I'm
it's a
also
bit
concerned
tricky.
about walkers.
I like the idea of the tree.
Walkers.
You know, we're
And they
like,
cut the tree down.
we don't want people to be like, oh, I got to the end and now I mean, like, you almost got hit. You know, I would rather keep people out, but yeah. I do feel like we could find some water-loving tree or something.
Mhm.
to put 'em.
Right.
We need to vote on this tonight, or what would you like to do?
I would like to vote on this tonight.
But have we made a decision?
Well, that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because last month, we couldn't come to a decision, and I would like to get this moving so that they can get this done. I really am concerned about people driving down that road.
Absolutely.
That's a very-
They're gonna ruin the whole path.
Yes.
100%.
So,
I would suggest putting what we've agreed to, the bollards with the decorative covers at one end, maybe the end that's closest
On
down to
Bingham
Bingham
Road.
Road.
Right.
And then putting the removable ones at the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't know, but it just seems to me make common sense that maybe people that are looking to do some harm or maybe coming off Bingham Road. I don't know, but that'd be my recommendation. Put what we've agreed to at Bingham Road end, put the removable ones at the other end. And make them match as close as you can.
Yeah. Luckily, they're not right next door to each other.
Yeah. And maybe if they're sleeves, so maybe you can just get the removable ones, just make sure that same sleeves will fit over them perhaps. But I don't know.
Really, the only concern is if they just go and steal all the other ones just to be facetious. I mean,
Well, we had
'Cause-
really pissed somebody off.
Chief, take care of it.
yeah, right. So, but I mean, for water main access and sanitary sewer access, I do think it would be a good idea. to
In
at
short
least-
term, why don't you just take, you've got bollards that are now, you can remove them to gain access. Why don't you just take what you've got, put it at the other end,
and put it on one.
put these on this end, and let's see for the next 6 months if people screw around with it or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you
Now we-
spend half the amount of money.
Now we've
and,
got extras.
And you got extras, yeah.
and then,
And I know there was some public concern about the color of the existing bollards.
You got a different sleeve you could put over them to match this, or closely match it?
On the Timber Trail,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, on the Bingham Road end.
Sorry.
No, on the removable end.
On the removable end.
So these, we could change the sleeve, we could change the color of
That's
these.
what I do. Make them a less bright color.
Mhm.
and
More-
those aren't really removable. I mean, we could unscrew them.
Yeah,
They
that's
flap down,
correct.
but so I don't know if a truck would, or I will.
Well, but I mean, as we know from people stealing them, you can pull them out really,
Right.
really easily.
So if there's a water main, we'll just have to,
Yeah, basically, yeah, they
just
literally unscrew them. Or I mean, the whole intent, the reason we chose these from the start is you can drive over them.
Right.
Like, they can be driven over, it's not great for your equipment to drive over them.
No, it would tear up my trucks.
I think they would hit the bottom of people's cars.
You have to go the other end.
Yeah, but if there was a water main break, they could take a few minutes to take it down.
Right.
Easily, yes.
Okay, so do you understand? Are you
Yeah,
clear?
yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. Do we want the concrete pyramid bollards then on the Bingham Road side? Are you guys content with that, or do we want to do removable sleeve,
I think
permanent
we
bollards?
decided permanent bollards, removable sleeves.
Okay.
For their maintainable.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then we'll because some of the bollards that were stolen are not in great condition anymore from them ripping them out, so obviously we'll furnish the
We'll
best.
salvage what you
we got, yep.
Okay.
I like that plan.
All right.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
So I move what Eric said.
And I'll second what he said.
That we have permanent bollards on one end, but on the Bingham Road.
Yeah, I think so,
And movable bollards on the Hickory Hollow end,
And reusing what we've got.
reusing what we have.
And now that we could enforce on that end, hopefully that'll discourage
investigate some sort of tree or something,
Yes.
Yep.
right? You
Yeah.
want that part of the motion?
Yeah, and investigate
Something
possible
to block
trees
the
at
ditch.
at the Bingham Road entrance.
Yep.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Any discussion?
She did.
Any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is Bingham Road PUD, considered for approval. There will be a motion for this. We have a guest, welcome.
Hello. Try not to bring too much of the visuals to that. Terry Nosen, on behalf of Bingham Ridge Associates, LLC. As I recall, and hopefully you do, we left off the discussion primarily about buildings 1 and 16 and their proximity to Telegraph Road. I did have some, excuse me.
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt for 1 second
Sure.
while you clear your throat? Did you get your question answered? I'm sorry. I forgot
No, my
to.
question is about Old Stage Coachlight.
Oh, that's, okay, okay. I
Still
was
waiting
like,
for that
yeah, you
one.
connected, and I was like, oops, I forgot. Okay, go on.
Okay. So we did some sketches and some landscape concepts with some screening, similar to what we did on the other side. Need to hook up the computer to show those to you, but it's a similar kind of opacity as the other side, even with the buildings where they are at approximately 40 feet off of Telegraph. And the 40 feet off of Telegraph, a couple things. One, as everybody's, I think, aware, but I'll just reemphasize, on the R3 parcel, the 40 feet is the setback. On the R2 parcel, the 60 feet was the setback, and we were asking for a little bit of latitude to go to 40 on those two buildings. At one time, they were even closer. We moved it back to 40. I might also point out that the office building directly to the south of us, according to the survey information we have, that building is at 40 feet from the Telegraph right-of-way.
What
So-
part of that building, I'm sorry?
Huh?
What part of that office?
The front of the building.
The actual face of the,
Yes,
not
the
the
yes, the
carport?
face of the building that faces Telegraph Road has like a bay on it, and then the bay goes back, hard to say from the survey, 4 feet or so that it sets back, but the bay is into that 40-foot area. It's consistent with what we would be proposing to do. And then we also talked about a request, a couple of the members to consider whether we could remove 1 or 2 buildings from the project, which would be approximately 2 or 4 units from the project. And I did go back to Mr. Cadian, who's the seller. He's here tonight if you want to hear from him. And you know, the economics for us and for him are pretty delicate, and we discussed these. There's just no real room to take out 4 units here. On the bright side, I might point out that one, based on our screening, you're not going to see them from Telegraph, so they're really of no burden to anybody in the village. 2, just doing a quick back of the napkin, at around $1 million SEV, even homestead units are going to generate about $35,000 a year, times 4 in taxes would be $140,000. And I would say, I know the village doesn't get that whole amount, obviously, you get a slice of it, but then other agencies get some of those funds that are beneficial to you too. And I wouldn't be surprised in there if we got, because of the type of units that we're marketing to empty nesters, if these were second homes and they were not even homestead, and those could run up to as much as sort of $50,000 a year in property taxes if they don't have a principal residence exemption. So I think that's a lot of money to walk away from here. So other than that, I think that we've, and Eric was going to try and be here tonight. I talked to him earlier, but he had some commitments. So his report is pretty complete. There are a few things in there that are that he and I have discussed in terms of density calculations and whether his calculations, which he acknowledges were rough versus our engineer's calculations, which were done on CAD, come up a little different. I come to the point where I think that the real number for the property is, he says around 4.5, I say 4.32. Those are the numbers that I get using our engineer and sort of, and most of his deduction areas to get to a net density. So we're really within the spirit, very close to the master plan. So that was one of the issues. And then there was another issue that was troubling some people, which we dove a little deeper into, which was lot coverage. And that was one of these things where we might look at, if we're as we follow the ordinance, to the underlying zoning and under R3 zoning or R2 zoning, the lot coverage maximum is 50%. That lot coverage is a combination of buildings and impervious surfaces. And I don't want to put words in Eric's mouth, but both he and I agree that as to each individual piece and as to the whole parcel, we're under the 50% lot coverage. We're in the 40s roughly on the R3 piece, and in the, I think, the high 30s on the low 30s on the R2 piece. I have the exact numbers if you want them, but we're under the 50%, so we're not asking for any consideration in the PUD to accomplish that.
Excuse me, is that using a 22-foot wide road, or 24-foot wide road, or a 27-foot wide road?
It's a 27-foot wide road that we've uniformly deducted from. Yes.
And does that include the sports pad?
The sports pad in Eric's numbers, I don't think he added it as hard surface.
And the sidewalks?
Sidewalks, yes. Buildings, easements, road, parking, driveways, etc.
Do you have the new drawings that have all these measurements?
Well, I have Eric's drawings. There's nothing new. It's his drawings, and then
Well, the road is wider.
that changed before this last submission. It's been 27 for quite a while. So if I look at this, yeah, he's got gross area, roadway, easements, water, wetlands, gravel access drive, and I don't see his line item for sidewalk.
I also noticed too that you have a gravel driveway in there.
Yes.
That comes off of 14.
Yes. Will
that go away?
No, it's going to have bollards. It's strictly for access for two things: maintenance of the detention basin, so that the basins that do the pre-treatment can be cleaned, and for access for to the strip of land of 4 feet along the east property line, so we can mow or clean up any debris that might blow into that berm area.
So you'd have maintenance trucks go into there stop and then do whatever they needed to do.
Yeah, and chain it back up again. And then it would also serve a dual purpose that would allow for pedestrians to walk on it from our internal path. If they wanted to go out closer to Telegraph, they would walk on that gravel
So it would be a
road.
pervious material.
It would be pervious, yes. That's why Eric took it out. And then there was one other exclusion. He overdid the easements, but he never redid the calculations. But there are temporary construction easements that were granted at the time that the WRC or the whatever agency put in water mains along Telegraph. But I showed him the chain of title, the deeds to those easements that say that they go away when the construction is complete. So I didn't feel it was fair for him to count those as easements, but we never corrected the number.
I remember you do have one main going
Oh, yeah.
pretty much right down the middle of the road.
It comes down, it just crosses through the cul-de-sac and then goes, heads west to Telegraph. It's a L shape, yes. That's a different agency, Sakra, is that what it is? South Oakland, something or other? Water. Yeah, it's a big water main.
Yep.
And we're not disturbing it. But we are limited. We can't make much in grade change on it. So we're staying with the current contours of the land. We put our cul-de-sac in to try and stay very close to the existing grades where we crossed it. And then wherever buildings are, we've left it at existing grades and we're grading to that.
So you're
to
going to
that
be
water main.
grading the property, what would be the northeast corner, Zimmerman House, when that's going?
That's going to become the detention basin, yes.
Right. So how are you affecting the grade in order for that to be the retention pond? Are you lowering it?
So it's actually, no, it's actually kind of perched in on almost a shelf. It's pretty complex. So it starts at a grade above the creek that's down there, and there's a retaining wall along the gravel road, and then there's also retaining towards the top of that detention basin because the land is sloped a lot more than a basin that has water that's level in it.
So where is the water and the slope going to end up?
The water ends up in the basin.
And then beyond the basin?
And it does not come out of the basin except through a controlled outlet.
We've had incidences where people built and didn't really think about the impact on their neighbor's property and literally flooded out gardens and yards. And so I'm sensitive because, as we discussed earlier, I'm only sitting here because of these people. I represent their interest, their homes, their families, their investment. And while you're spouting off possible tax bills, we're paying the real ones. And I don't think that you're very accurate, and I have a tax man here that runs the tribunal, and he can probably verify that you're a little high. You're a little high. And so I think it's dangerous to start telling us we're going to get $50,000 for a house, that's, what is it, $2 million?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably not.
For non-homestead.
Yeah, well, I just think it's dangerous. You don't have the figure. You don't have the assessment. So the numbers you're giving us are your impression. And I listen to these friends and neighbors on my street that are talking about what the impact is going to be on their lives and their property values. That I'm happy for you that you can make, several million on this project and really enjoy it. And the other thing is clear cutting the lot. I drive by Franklin Road multiple times a week thinking, damn, what a horrible thing. They're just gone. All the heritage tree, the barn's gone, the barn's been packed up, they can't find a home for it. The history, the value in that property is now gone. And the one neighbor, the first house to the south, actually covered in arborvitae just for privacy because they're sticking out there. You know, I don't know. I guess if I were to come to you and say, I want to buy a condo, and you know what, I'll give you 1.5, which is close to 2. It's almost 2. It's 1.5. Would you buy that? Because you're telling me, well, we're 40 feet, but it's almost there, so it's okay. And you want me to say it's okay to not be within our compliance, and I can't do that in good conscience to my friends and say, well, you have to stick to the rules. All of you have to follow all the variances as they're written, but you can come in and make millions of dollars by clear-cutting the property and putting in,
Well,
yeah.
can I respond?
Sure.
One, I will stand by the tax piece because I believe that.
But you don't know. You believe.
No, I know what you're.
No.
I know what the tax rates are, and unless your assessor is a very, very friendly person, man or woman, chances are they are going to get assessed at 50% of their true cash value. And yes, if we end up selling them for $1.5 million, it'll be $750,000. I don't expect that to happen, but
we're not putting it in the bank.
But I really am not understanding the argument about effect on other properties. Number one, why is someone within the village offended by a home that happens to be close to Telegraph Road and Screen? What effect does it have on them? I think that's a red herring. The
second story balcony that overlooks their backyard and their pool.
No, nobody's back. No, I'm talking about Telegraph.
Well, I'm talking about the people that live on the other side.
On the east property line, I believe we've made our peace with almost all the people on the east property line by putting berms that do two things. One, I'm picking up all the stormwater that currently goes that way, cutting it off, keeping it on our property, sending it down to the detention basin, and then having a controlled discharge. Same thing to the office to the south of me. He came in, he had one request: don't flood me out. Yeah. Again, he has a berm there. He will get less water when we're done than he's getting today. It's a benefit to all of those people. And as to the east property line screening, we're taking a 60-foot setback where we only need to have 35 in many places, a full 60 where we're required to have 60 under the R3 zoning. So I really take exception to the fact that you're saying like we haven't tried and we're going to negatively impact these folks. I don't think that we are.
That's not what I'm hearing.
But they don't know. I've presented them drawings. I've presented them cross-sections. I've opened for discussion with them. I've told them we can meet anytime. And so far, to a person, none of them have complained to me that they're dissatisfied with and these are the people who are actually right next to, adjacent to our property. Nobody, not one. So.
Well, I have a hard time believing that for you to make money, you have to build 16 buildings, 32 condos at $2 to $2.5 million apiece.
How long, Mr. Cadian, how long have you owned that land, you and your family?
Close to 50 years.
Yeah.
I remember, because you tried
50
to do it
years.
before, remember?
Go ahead, yeah, come on up.
Sure.
Mark Cadian, RBK Investments. Just to address some of your questions. First off, our business has been in Bingham Farms for 50 years. okay? We're not a Johnny-come-lately, we're coming in to just make a quick profit. We were extremely sensitive. I have my law firm in this community, okay? We were extremely sensitive to making sure any development we did on that property was going to be a A++ development. Any notion that we're arbitraging the property is false. What we're doing is we're trying to build something that's an asset that enhances the community, that's consistent with the values of the community. We had proposed pre-COVID a very high-end independent living and assisted living development.
I remember.
That took substantial amount of money to get to the point that we got it to. And but for COVID, that would have been built. It was shovel-ready. It was high-end. It was, my partner is the same individual that did All Seasons Birmingham. Okay, it was going to be top-notch. Likely, had that been built, it would have been an incredible boon to the community and those that lived in it that needed that type of facility. So after that development was nixed by COVID, we put an incredible amount of time in determining what was best for that property, what was best for the community. And this is it. We're not arbitraging to make a quick profit. We're simply trying to do two things. First, do a top-notch development that's going to bring people in that needs these type of housing. They're empty nesters that would otherwise live in large homes, and they want to stay in the community. That was also our goal with the assisted living facility. Secondly, yes, there's an economic proposition here. An absolute economic proposition. And to suggest otherwise is false. We have to make it work economically for Mr. Nosen and for our company. We assembled this land over many, many years at a substantial amount of money so that we could do an integrated development. We could have very easily said, you know what, we're going to make a quick profit on Deauville. There were houses on Deauville. This wasn't a natural setting. I demolished those houses because I thought they were an eyesore. We didn't rent them out. We could have rented them out. We didn't try to flip them. We wanted to assemble the whole thing so we could make an integrated development. And this is consistent with the master plan. It's consistent with the PUD ordinance. What Mr. Nosen's asking for is simply what, in the spirit of the ordinance, it allows. And so I just want to dispel the concept. Also, we own other buildings in the corridor. We pay large property taxes. We support the community, and this is going to be no different. This is going to support the community and its needs. I know how much tax money gets paid because, unfortunately, I have to write the checks.
I do
and they're large checks. I know, but as a property owner of buildings, I'm totally sensitive to the homeowners and their property tax bill. Also be cognizant of the fact that we write those checks too, large checks, and we don't get the services. We don't get the schools. We don't get any of the services.
I haven't either.
Okay, well, I just want to make clear that, look, we're really trying to do something positive here, and it's taken a lot of effort to get to this point over many, many years.
I understand that, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but what is I've seen over the 47 years that I've lived here is every builder that came in to look at Lot 1 on 14 Mile, we've gone from 35 homes to 17 to 8, but he was going to tie up in a window, and there's your neighbor right outside the window. You know, it's just crazy. To me, that's not Bingham Farms. That's, even though it may economically, and I'm not criticizing you for having an economic plan. I think so. Maybe this isn't the right property. It's too small. But I can tell you right now, it's not the right plan for Bingham Farms. I love it being residential. I was all for condominiums. I wanted that. But, and I don't even mind the, the Frank Lloyd Wright salute. I think that's a nice touch for those that really are Frank Lloyd Wright fans. But I can't ignore the fact that you're still not in compliance with our ordinances. And the PUD doesn't give you free rein to ignore all of them. It gives you some flexibility. But I think we need to observe, if I'm going to expect all of my neighbors to stick to the ordinances, then I have to expect you to do that too. I'm sorry, that's just, and I don't,
But I think you're misspeaking. I think you're misspeaking because we are in compliance with all of the ordinances. Yes, you do. Giffords-Webster wrote a report.
The report shows you're
and your
not.
planning
Yeah, the
commission
report says you're
considered it. In what respect?
That it stated
They had a
that
density
you,
of 4.5.
And yours is
roughly,
1.
And yours, and I think the range is 2.5 to 4.3.
Yeah, and I say we're closer to 4.3, but that's a master plan issue, and even Giffords admits that the master plan does not clearly state that the density that's calculated under the PUD ordinance is the density referred to in the master plan. He is willing to say that there is an argument, and this is what your expert says, that the density there could be gross density, in which case we're at about 3.5.
Yeah, but you're just leveraging unused property at that point to get to a gross.
Well, all I'm saying is you have a master plan. You've advertised to the world that this is what your vision is for that. And the master plan said when his first project didn't go together that this really should be residential PUD, not residential single-family lots. You could have in the master plan said, we think this is a wonderful site for estate homes fronting on Telegraph Road. It didn't. So you held out to the world, including me, that this is what was planned for there. This is what you want. But it was up to us to take that and put it together into a proposal. And I think that I don't need to reach around and pat myself on the back, but I think we've done a pretty darn good job of proposing a very high-end empty nester community that will be very attractive to some people that currently live in Bingham Farms and to other people who don't, but love this location and want to be here and love the ambiance. And if they want to buy a lot not on Telegraph Road, they can find one. There aren't that many for sale, but they may have to wait a little for their turn. But they can find one. But this is for a market. It has a place, and I feel that somewhat misled if you were to say to me, here's our master plan, go for it. We get the planning commission, which I exposed myself to a meeting with 4 planning commissioners, and I needed all 4 votes, and we got them saying we did a good job. So now we're with you.
Report. We had a planning commissioner that wrote a detailed report of
So he would have voted no. There's 4 yes votes.
But they didn't even read his report.
Yes, they did. Come on, I had several.
Wasn't it in the packet?
I've had at least 3.
It was in the packet.
It was in the packet, and I've had more than at least 3 or 4 planning commission meetings. One was continued. So I think it's disingenuous at this point for to say that we're not in compliance. We are in compliance.
All the planning commissioners read the whole thing. It was like 3 pages long, so we didn't read it out loud, the whole thing. They all read it.
Summary of Planning Commission considerations from the January 22nd meeting. Project density. The number of dwelling units per acre is increased, and in turn, the open space is increased. The proposed density slightly exceeds the range shown in the master plan.
Can I speak to that density issue if I could? I know you made a comment. Again, a little history since we've owned the property so long. When SACWA came in, they asked us for an easement. That's our property. Okay, it was historically our property. Where that water main goes is our property. For a community benefit, we gave them that easement. I don't think we even got any money for it, okay? Because they needed the water main to go through. Now, you look decades hence, and you're looking at a density that's fractionally higher than a range. When we, as a community benefit, voluntarily gave that easement up. And now, Mr. Nosen calculates the density having to take out the water main, which we gave to the community. I mean, that's how, the discussion here is that we are a community member. We are not an outside developer. We're a community member. We have history in this property. We have history in the entire corridor. We still own property in the corridor, buildings in the corridor. They came, we gave. We are trying to, again, to the second point with regard to what your ordinance provides. This ordinance provides for a mixed-use concept. Talk about density. We are entitled by law, we believe, to have built what we proposed prior, which was a office building and a assisted living facility with memory care. That's what your ordinance allows. We already got that approved. Okay, so
I was at that meeting.
Hearing everybody's comments, thinking about the community, thinking about the market and what it could bear on a high-end basis, we then come back and propose on a density basis something a lot less intensive, substantially less intensive. And
You can't make it 4.3.
we
You
cannot
gotta stay at 4.5. You can't even go there. I'm just saying, I'm just
No.
asking. It's a
Yeah.
valid question.
The answer to that is no from our perspective. To
Are
make
you
this
doing
work,
this as an integral unit? Your plan is to build. One.
I'm sorry, Terry can speak
the
to
PUD
that, the phasing.
The PUD states that it shall be designed as an integral unit intended to be developed according to a clearly identified schedule.
Yes,
Are you stating a schedule?
Yes, we've hit a schedule that we've given to the village.
What is the schedule,
And
please?
it's in the materials that I think you got last time before our meeting.
Which are the same materials in this packet, by the way.
Correct. It's at the end of that packet. The schedule is essentially to finish all land development and infrastructure work within, I think it was a year, or maybe a little less than probably less than a year. Depends on seasonality at this point. I'm already worried about fall freezing when we have to go through engineering reviews and all the other stuff that we have to do. I would have loved to have gotten this in the ground this year. I still hope we can, but we'll try. But so the schedule has all infrastructure, which includes, and we've said that this will be put in the PUD agreement if you were to give us the go-ahead to have a PUD agreement. It includes all of the landscape screening and berming and mass grading, water main, storm sewer improvements, the detention basin, the roadway, everything except the buildings themselves for the houses. So it would be completely developed. It would have soil erosion protection on any unbuilt areas. And then we proposed in there a schedule of starting several buildings right away, and then a couple of year, and I think it was a 3-year or so build out, something like that. The schedule's there on paper.
Well, according to Giffords Webster, on page 6 of their report, it's noted that the PUD has only 46% open space, falling short of the 50% required.
That's incorrect statement,
And it also does
but-
not include, apparently, the sports court, which is a non-open space.
No.
So that's going to affect that percentage even
There's
more.
there's 20% open space requirement in the PUD. The 50% is lot coverage. And lot coverage is a different thing. And Eric conflated that in one area of his
Agreement letter
report.
between you and Eric that states that you both agreed to the things that you were saying? I mean, because his report
He doesn't say that.
is different.
I've gone through his report, and I have a list. It's a very short list of areas that we have some disagreement. One, he noted the road was narrower than it is. On page 5, discussion of current zoning ordinance, a reference is made to 4.5 DU per acre density. We are actually seeking 3.52 based on gross acreage, and the calculation comes, as we see it, from our engineer, and Eric has said, I could be wrong, I could be off a little. That's what he's told us. At 4.32.
You're including the pond.
No, we exclude the pond.
You exclude the pond.
From density. We exclude anything that's unbuildable from this density calc.
What's the buildable acreage that you're considering?
We have over 400,000 square feet, which is about 9.1 acres. And after we get done using the PUD definition to fix density, that comes down to about 7.17 acres, over 2 acres of what we'll call unusable, which is defined as an easement, which, yeah, I can't build a building on it, but I can sure use it, but your definition says no. It's defined. We also, in addition to the storm drain, we gave away probably close to half an acre, or we're proposing to give away, because right now we own it, Mark does, about a 60-foot half road right-of-way along 14 Mile where the current house is. That's never been dedicated to Oakland County. And so that comes out, I had that as part of my acreage. Now it's not anymore, because I've been mandated by the county that we're going to approve my development plan. They want that land as their right-of-way, not my land. But after all of that, we still come down to about 7.17 net acres, and we come down to 4.32 net density under the ordinance definition of density. But the ordinance doesn't have any density guideline. The ordinance has a way of calculating density. The density comes from the master plan. And the master plan is just a range.
So how long is it going to take you to build this?
To the last homeowner moving in, probably 3.5, 4 years. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. So
There's a question I have about mechanics on us doing anything, and that is because there was a letter from Giffords dated March 18th, and it says these are the things that happen in which time period, and it goes on the July meeting and November 10th, the February meeting, and then it says the March 9th Planning Commission approved the February minutes. The Planning Commission did not meet on March 9th. There was no meeting. There was no approval. So the minutes have never been approved. And they did not meet, so we have no approved minutes. So I'm a little confused.
I would leave that to your staff to address that issue, but I was told we wouldn't even schedule this meeting.
It was scheduled, but it didn't happen.
If the planning commission meeting was canceled this month, not in March. If the March meeting did not take place and the minutes were not approved, we would not have had the first meeting you had about the PUD, because we wanted approved meetings, approved minutes for you to have in the packet, and we couldn't put them in until they got approved.
I'm sorry, but I looked on the website for approved minutes from the February 9th meeting, and I didn't see a March meeting that approved the February minutes.
Because the March meeting minutes would have been approved at the April meeting, which was postponed to next month. So those minutes have not been approved, so you can't have seen the minutes that show you that the February minutes have been approved. Just like until you approve the minutes from last month at today's meeting, they are not going to be on the website until tomorrow.
And so they're not on the website? Because they were not from February 9th.
To my knowledge, they are. If they're not, it's an oversight, and we can certainly fix that. But the March The March Planning Commission meeting for sure took place because we had discussions about a different topic that day. I was there, so was Jamie.
Are you pulling it up? No?
No, I don't see it. But no, this is just what's in the packet. It's
Okay,
the February
What
minutes.
was the date, March?
March 9th.
Okay.
And I was, all right, I will look again on the
There-
website.
It's indicated that there are 43 parking spots other than the 2 designated for each unit. So each unit has 2 garages on the ground level, and there's 2 spots for cars to park. And then you've got 32 units. That's like 1.3 cars per unit for people to come and visit.
No, each unit has a 2-car garage, 4 cars per building. Each of those 2-car garages, with maybe some minor exceptions, has room for 2 cars to park literally right in front of the garage door. And then we've added another 40-some spaces scattered throughout the property for guest parking beyond street parking.
Where are those spaces located?
You just have to look at the site plan, so they would be in various little dead-end spots, like in front of a different garage. They're all over.
Mr. Nosan?
Yes.
Is this the copy that's accurate?
That one? No, I think the last one, which I brought for the last.
That's what we got last
That's what we got at the last meeting.
No,
Oh, okay.
this was the one from the last meeting.
We need that.
No, that's the one we got from the last.
This is what we got at the last meeting.
This is the one from the last meeting, as far as, because I know I brought it when we came.
Well, I've got one that looks just like that.
Yeah.
That's what we got at the last
That's what
meeting.
Lisa has in her hand too, so.
I really want to do some measurements. I want to review this. I think this is a departure from,
Well, that's what we said at the last meeting.
yeah.
So where's the review?
I think, let me say a couple of things. Maybe I'll start off with a more positive note. I think most people in this room, not all, want to see that property developed. And I think most people in this room think probably the way you're designing it and the concepts, most people like it too. It's different. I can't find any real good examples of stacked ranches. These are big homes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just a 1-story home, it would be a big footprint because whatever they are, the footprint probably going to be close to 4,000 feet. So there's a lot to think about. Now, to be clear, you're both clearly frustrated, and I can even understand why. As a business guy, it gets frustrated because you got to go to a planning commission, you got to get by that, you got to come here, you got to get by us. But it is a big project for Bingham Farms, and up until last month, when we got the packet a few hours before the meeting, and we said we don't even have time to study it. Now we've had time to study it. And I think that's what you're hearing is very concerning questions.
That's what it is.
Because people have not had a chance to study it. And I think the questions are perfectly fine. From my perspective, I feel like that,
But there's no minutes.
again, in a PUD, we should both be getting something, all right? You're going to get our blessing to do something that may not be strictly to the ordinances, because we're going to give you flexibility. In return, you're going to give us things like revenue, which you already talked about. We appreciate that. But we as a council need to be certain that we are, in our own minds, living up to the spirit and character of the village, and it's a big deal. It's and I don't understand, frankly. We say, I mean, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, but okay. So, and I appreciate you own the property for 50 years. You want to develop the property, but what it's coming across as, I'm only going to develop it if I can get the highest possible density on it, and it just doesn't feel right.
Just a little disingenuous.
Yeah, so I'm for the development.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly thrilled with the density. And I think we have a right, without being overly frustrated, for this council to ask questions. And if it takes another month, it's going to take another month.
I totally understand that. I have no control over that. And I want you to be satisfied, and I want you to raise questions, and we're always available. And we have a good dialogue with your consultant. These plans are actually in front of HRC for review. But that's not your province, that'll be the planning commission again. But, so, yes, we're trying. But as developers, builders, time is money for us, and I've done this for years and years in many municipalities. I think this is the first time I've had a project in the village, and so far it's been a very positive and helpful attitude that I've gotten from staff, and when I've talked to homeowners, it's been respectful, and from planning commissioners and board members. It's just, it gets frustrating because I don't even remember when the first planning commission meeting was for tentative qualification, but it's probably going on a year. Sure. So if it takes another month, I wish you would have a special meeting and allow us to pay the fees for it, and then we don't have to have other business there, and we get through it. But I don't think you don't do that.
One easy way to take a direct yes, and that is to lower the number of buildings. That's all you have to do, because that affects a lot of the hard surfacing, it affects the density, it affects the proximity. You don't have to build 40 feet from telegraph. Do you know that in one summer, that center sign that says "Welcome to Bloomfield Township" and the sign that identifies the apartments, both had been hit by trucks going off the road on Telegraph? And I think of that house 40 feet from Telegraph, and you got, an out-of-control gravel hauler coming down at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that would be a good thing to do, is if we just matched the numbers with what we're asking to have done.
Well,
that's all. No,
I think I have hit the numbers.
Well, you said you were close.
4.32 versus a max of 4.3.
Well, there were other things. But
no. So, and the lot coverage thing, I don't think there's any. I don't know what exactly you're reading into what Eric has, but he's acknowledged that we are well below the 50% lot coverage, not above it. We're in compliance. The only thing right now that isn't in compliance with the underlying R3 and R2 zoning is one building that is at the 40-foot setback that's established for the building to the south of us and is established for the R2 parcel instead of at 60 feet. And one other building that has also a similar setback. So other than that, we are to the letter and with room to spare on most areas of the ordinance.
One of the other questions that was raised about the ability for the fire department to bring in a truck into that and to be able to turn around in that cul-de-sac. Have you talked to the fire chief and gotten any indication that he is going to be able to get in there? And
we've had the road is an Oakland County standard design for a subdivision road and cul-de-sac. I don't know if it's been submitted to fire for review, but it is a totally standard 27-foot back of curb to back of curb road with the full-size cul-de-sac that Oakland County's geometry takes. So our entryway, where we have our gated entryway, we have a Knox box. Those roads are, I think, 21 feet wide in one direction, and 21 feet wide in, 21 feet wide out. So I don't believe that there's any issue there.
I think this has already been discussed.
May I get a copy of the plans?
Sure.
Okay, that would be very helpful.
What plans?
The ones that he's got right there.
Oh.
One of the things, or a couple of things, I should say, that what Eric brought up, and that a PUD is a give and take. We have asked, okay, you guys have presented, I don't think you've changed one thing since you presented this unit to the Planning Commission. We have asked that reduce the density, and therefore we can then meet the setback requirements with no problem. You have told us that's not something he can do. That to me is not a give and take. You talked about a 2 million versus a 1.5 million. So you're already considering, well, maybe we can't sell them for 2 million. We might have to drop it to 1.5. The biggest thing that okay, it's can you sell them for that? Well, supposedly you think you can. But again, we have asked for reduced density, and as was stated here, and I've said a number of times to one or two people that, boy, these guys come in and just drop one unit. Wow, I think we got it. They drop 2 units, it's a slam dunk. You haven't done that. And again, it's and from what I'm hearing here is that it's still a very big concern as to the density and the setback problems. And you tell us monetarily you can't do that. Well, I disagree on that one, but so that's kind of where I stand.
I hear you. And after the last meeting, I did go back and I looked at it, studied it, talked with Mark and his group, and it's just, it is a big undertaking, and as the land cost here is representative of not representative of normal single-family large lot development land. It's based
Land
on
cost,
commercial.
You already own it. That's a given.
No, I don't own it.
No, the Arcadian does.
He owns it, and he hasn't, he values it. It's been valued according mostly to the former PUD that they had approved, that drives the value in their mind, in that owner's mind. But as far as the give, what we're doing in here compared to a single-family platted subdivision, we're building berms. We're not required to build to make sure that water doesn't run off onto our neighbors' properties. We're installing large trees and landscaping to screen our neighbors' properties. We are providing a streetscape along Telegraph that will basically hide the development. Those are huge benefits, in my opinion, compared to if Mark had left Deauville Court there, those homes would have basically some side yards and setbacks, and they could come build accessory structures in their backyards and do whatever they please, and no one would require them to build a berm, to plant a tree, to screen their activities. You're getting a huge, I think, benefit and package, and the adjacent homeowners have already signed off on their being content with that. And I think that is the benefit, and to allow us to have the density that's just at the higher end of your master plan, I think we've earned it.
You know, Mr. Nuzan, and I understand what you're saying, but in all honesty, my position would be the same no matter who is standing before us, no matter what they're talking about building.
I don't take it personally.
These are the rules. And that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, and in all fairness, listen to me. I've said you've advertised to the world via your master plan that you are wanting certain things to go here. We, guided by your planning consultant, to some extent, by staff, by asking, by the planning commission themselves, have said, we're here, we're in, we want to do what your master plan says, we want to deliver that vision. This is how we can do that. And we came up with this project. And it's not one where the density, to me, should be the least problematical part of this project. When you have a master plan that says, this is the range. If you say this is the range, that doesn't mean you have to be at the
It
bottom.
might be an issue of interpretation. I think I would, then there's been a problem, we should fire our planner, if that's the case, that it was written so poorly that you can come in and change it, do what you want to do. Because I don't think that's really what our planner had in mind. I can't imagine he would do that. But we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you a question,
But the other
an
thing to
analogy.
consider is the plan is a vision. It's a plan. It's a vision for where we're going to be for the next 5 years when we look at it again. The ordinances are set numbers. They're numeric values that are measurable, repeatable. So we have to look at that aspect as well. So I'm looking at one that I feel we expect of all of our residents and our property owners. You're looking at another number that makes you feel good, that it fits your needs better.
No, I'm not.
So,
I'm not. I take issue with that. Because your ordinance does not set, there is a density calculation in the PUD ordinance. Your residential zoning ordinances do not state a density. They deal with lot sizes.
Right.
So, and if you have a 1 acre lot, and you have one house on your 1 acre lot, what's your density? 1 unit per acre, right? Is it 1 unit per acre?
I don't know.
Oh, I got to take out for your swimming pool. I got to take out for the piece of the road that you don't own. I got to take out because you have an easement. I got to take out because you got a bouncy house for your kids. And you're really almost an acre and 1.5 units per acre. That's what we're talking about here.
We're talking about
semantics.
Setbacks. I'm talking about measurable setbacks.
Well,
and you've already admitted that you're not. You've infringed on those setbacks.
Yeah, on a setback where I have a property to the north that we have control over that says 40 feet's fine, and I'm complying totally with it. And there's another property just to the south of us that says that exists at a 40-foot setback. So why does this little piece of R3 around our entryway have to have 60 feet? Doesn't make sense to me. 40 feet's the number along the road. And I understand about your concerns about safety, et cetera.
And the aesthetics.
The aesthetics are you're going to see a lot of trees and a berm.
Well, trees, I know, they're beautiful, and we all love our trees, but they don't create more space. And that's what you're lacking right now because of the number of buildings. But you know what? I've got my questions for now. I'd like to review your plans, take my own measurements, and maybe I've been proved wrong.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I have one set of questions I have is it sounds like there's things that Eric has said that's not in what I read. And I'd like to get that clarified of what Eric says versus what's written or to update.
Yeah, he did call me today and he said he had a convention type meeting or something that he was committed to and that he would try to get here this evening.
I understand.
But he's very cordial and we've talked about this stuff and I see no problem communicating with him and trying to get our notes lined up so that if he needs to make some changes and feels it's right to make some changes to his report, I'm sure he'll do so. And if he stands his ground, he'll stand his ground and say, no, I was right, you're wrong. But yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Love working with him, he's a great guy. I don't think you should fire him, by the way, I will go on the record.
So last month when we went through all of this, we said if you have any questions, please send them to Jamie ahead of time so that the questions can be answered ahead of time and we can get through this a lot quicker. So I'm going to please ask that again. If you have questions, please get them to Jamie before the meeting. That way Jamie can get them to the developers, we can get answers, and we don't have to sit for an hour.
Can we get Eric's updates and the latest plan?
Yes.
Like in the next week versus?
Yes.
Yes.
Because actually next meeting is.
May 18th is already early.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's really helpful if, for everybody involved, if these questions come up ahead of time. So then we need to adjourn to a right?
Your next meeting.
Yeah.
Right. May 18th. So we would.
Just lost you.
No. I don't know. Still a quorum.
The quorum.
We still have a quorum.
Yeah.
So it would be a motion to adjourn to May 18th. Bingham Road PUD consideration for approval of conditions. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
We're
To adjourn to
To
the
adjourn.
date, to adjourn to the date certain, which is May 18th. The Bingham Road PUD consideration for approval with conditions. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'm going to leave these printed copies with Annie and Jamie. And there's also a printed copy of the original screening metrics that I did for the adjacent homeowners for Gherkin and Gojai and Hunter. So that's it. There's some copies. I don't have enough for everybody, but there's quite a few in there. So
Thank you.
can,
Thank you for coming, Mr. Comedian.
Yes.
See you again.
Yeah, so those are there, and then we may update, because I do have another screening one relative to what the views are on telegram.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Can we get that as soon as possible?
Like tomorrow?
That's fine.
Can we delete till next month without you?
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that. I hope that was where we were headed.
Moving on to new business, we have a resolution confirming necessity and directing preparation of the special assessment roll and scheduling of hearing on the assessment roll for Phase 2 road improvement project, which will be Coachlight Lane and Old Stage Road. This is going to be a resolution.
I think you should see if anybody has any comments in here.
Oh. So, do I have to open a public hearing? Or just?
No.
She'll allow for comment if anybody showed up, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Does anybody have comment on this Phase 2 road project?
You just asking.
The person who did isn't here.
Yeah, we
I
didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah. So is that all cleared up? Do you want to
Yeah,
tell us this question, or?
He was just asking what we were planning to do, if there was a full reconstruction or if we're doing pads. And we talked about what has changed in the concrete cement paste and why the road is failing in the areas it's failing, and basically what the plan was.
Okay.
So,
You felt he was satisfied?
yes.
Okay.
And I told him I'll send him some stuff tomorrow, so
Thank you. Thank you for stepping out to do that.
no problem. It was a long conversation.
Is there anybody else
I tried
that's
to be.
here to speak to that? No. So,
Just a question on that. In my mind, it was going to be done for about $550,000, but the actual cost is $644,700.
So the
For phase 2?
Just to specify, so the $550,000, that's the cost of construction. Those are construction costs. So HRC has a separate proposal with the village for our engineering and then contract management, which is, I believe, is $111,000, something like that. Yeah. So I think when, Bill, you put that number, it's just the total cost of the project, engineering, construction, studying, that's like, and start to finish.
Okay, and that comes out to $644,700 and change probably?
Yeah, approximately, because obviously the project's out for bid, so we're waiting on bids, but that's based on our engineer's estimate.
And then we also got the grant for $250,000?
$250,000, yes. So it's a match. So if the project's $500,000, the village puts forth $250,000, we get $250,000. If the bids come low and say the project's $480,000, which sound like a good thing, but then the village would have to pay the difference of that. So it's up to 50%. So in a perfect world, we'd want to bid at $500,000 exactly, or a little higher. Just,
I think covers my question.
Sure.
Any other questions? So somebody just needs to present the resolution.
So that's pretty much what we have here.
Yes, you would say I.
A resolve to confirm the necessity and direct preparation of the special assessment role and scheduling a hearing on the assessment role phase 2 road improvement project, which includes Coachlight and Old Stage Road.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Miller, absent. Howard,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
Shigian,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye. Thank you. Next, we have the resolution approving DEDF grant agreement, and this is for Coachlight and Old Stage improvements. Do you want to speak to that?
So essentially, this is just us executing a grant with MDOT. So we are offered the grant, and now just the village has to proceed to go with it. And from there, we'll follow the MDOT procedures. So they'll be a part of the process when we get bids. They'll be a part of the process when the village helps picks a contractor. But this basically gives them the green light that we intend to accept the grant, and we want to proceed with receiving that money.
Thank you for that explanation. Does anybody want to offer the resolution?
I can do it again. The resolution to approve the DEDF grant agreement for Coachlight and Old Stage improvements.
I second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Blackburn,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Shigian,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Miller. Thank you for your patience.
No problem. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ray.
Next is the resolution to establish a public hearing on the proposed 26-27 budget. Bill or Jamie, would you like to take this?
Do you want me to take it? This is a resolution to establish a public hearing, which would be at the May 18th meeting. This would just be the public hearing at that time, not necessarily budget approval. And so this is a resolution approving that. It will be published accordingly, and the budget will be available for public comment at the counter also as in addition to the website.
This resolution states that the budget will be available for viewing on May 6th.
Correct.
Which is 7 business days from now, and I've never, as a member of the Budget Committee, seen anything on any numbers for a budget.
There'll be a
We can
draft.
work, yeah, it'll be a draft.
It'll be a draft.
It won't be a final copy anyways, but yeah, we can set up a meeting as soon as possible. I mean,
When will we see a draft?
Yeah, I think if you have a draft, you should get it out right away.
Do you have a draft now?
I have a partial draft of what it is. I'm working through it right now. Yep,
When can we see something?
as soon as it's done.
I'm sorry, I need a commitment before I pass this resolution.
Middle of next week,
That's
at
the
least in
6th.
draft form.
That's the 6th of May. So we won't see it before you put it on file at the village office. What good is a budget committee? sorry.
The alternative could be pushing it to June. It's just that also puts it right, the public hearing would be the same meeting that have to be approved. So that also,
But that's at least a good, sort of, maybe a point of discussion, because I know we're struggling to get this done, but I mean, it's, at the same time, Diane's exactly right. We're talking about not even seeing a draft in the middle of next week. If we push it to June, what is that? That means the public hearing and the approval of the budget would be at the same meeting?
correct.
Right, and it has been done before. Don't like to do it that way because the budget has to be approved in June. That's by state regulation.
So what's the risk of, is the risk is we don't approve it?
No, we have,
We
it
have to approve it.
it has to be
approve
approved.
it.
It has to be approved. It could always be amended, but it has to be approved in June. And we've done it, I think,
Last year was
twice.
June.
Yes, last year was June. Not the most opportune to have public comments, but the council's the one, after the budget committee recommends it, to approve it, and it has to be done in June.
Well, it puts a gun to our head. but-
Is it better? Is it better? I mean, you said you're working on it now, and by middle of next week you'd have it. Would it be better for them to see some Friday that is in a discussion with you on what's not done yet? I don't know. I'm just.
Well, to be quite frank, there's a lot of it. I mean, I'm going through, I've got the tax roll. There's a lot that's done. I've got, and I know it's not an excuse, but I've got just first of all, I'm behind, just from the time that I've been out.
Right, I
I've
understand.
got multiple things deadlines that I had to meet for both the state and for tax reporting to the feds. I've got Ray coming in tomorrow because I have to get things done for MDOT. So it's just a multitude of things. And again,
I know.
it's not an
I'm
excuse.
just thinking of anything for them to see something
Yeah, but
before
so
the
May
6th.
6th is just, actually, it's 6 business days, because today's already
I
gone.
really think we should, maybe it's a combination of both, see something as soon as you can get it. But, I mean, the reality is it's going to be June before we can get this done.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Can we just say it's going to be June, we got to get it
For
done?
the public hearing, you mean?
Yeah.
well, we'd have to do the public
Yeah.
hearing. Yeah, if we can't do it in May, it's got to be done in June.
So
But
there's
the
just
budget
no
also has to be.
I mean, we've had the reality of your situation,
Yeah.
and if we push it to June,
And the
We do.
biggest thing on our budget is public safety,
And we got the
and
fire
that
thing to
is
go
up in
to.
the air.
That's true. That's another thing that I don't want to say we're struggling with, but it's another thing that's a component that
That's a
is
major
flexible.
component.
So I'm not short sheeting anyone. I want to make sure that the budget committee has time to review things. And I don't want any, one thinking that someone said that there's a gun to your head. We don't want that. We want to make sure that
There
we're
will
doing
be.
it.
And I'm not even saying it negatively, there just will be.
Yeah.
the state of Michigan says
We got to get
so.
it done.
Right, we need a budget.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am not going to approve this resolution with these dates unless it's modified.
Can we approve it with
Approve it with a,
Different dates?
yeah,
Yeah, the different dates in the document.
June 22nd,
Okay?
That's the
June meeting.
That's
the June meeting.
But when will the budget therefore be placed on file
You
for,
got 6 days back from that, is that what it is? Okay.
because it was the 6th to the 18th, so that was a 12-day difference.
It's 6 required by law.
So,
Plus, we have to post public notice in the paper.
Gotta get in the
And we've got to make sure that C&G, we've got the dates of publication prior to that, so people know that
Yeah,
at least that a draft budget is available, or a budget is available for viewing.
and if we're doing June 22nd.
so when will the budget be available for public viewing if we're going to have the approval process on the 22nd?
It has to be available 6 days before that.
So that's what you're going to publish, 6 days before?
Well, that's the law.
That's the law, so it had to be something maybe June 12-ish or so. 12-ish.
Okay.
A nice big ad, 10 font letters.
It has to be 11, actually. That's not
That's in the law.
Thank you.
We don't get to pick that.
No, we don't think that.
We don't pick
But-
that.
But, no, that
To the
is-
newspaper.
It does say it has to be 11 point font.
Okay, so do we have a resolution? Those dates?
who offered it with the different dates?
Somebody needs to offer the resolution with those dates.
I offer a resolution with the corrected dates for public viewing 6 days prior to, and the actual approval process on the 22nd of June, 2026.
I'll second.
With the 26th, 27th budget. You second it? Any discussion? Roll call.
Blackburn.
Aye.
Hagerman.
Aye.
Mishigian.
Aye.
Deroni.
Aye.
McAlexander.
Aye.
Howard.
Aye.
Miller. Yes. And then we can hopefully set up a budget meeting.
Absolutely.
We really need to get something
Is
on
a
the
draft,
schedule.
anything.
Yep, that's what I mean. Yep, okay.
So it gives you a little more time, but not a lot.
Next is the DPW contract renewal.
Yeah, this is our contract with Beverly Hills. As you probably are aware, we do use them for DPW services. Pretty rare that we need their services, but it does come up, especially filling potholes. The manager there he started just a couple of months before me, so we're both new, going through contracts that were extremely old, and this is just an update. I did have the attorney review it. Everything is in our interest. It just matches the current labor prices, and so I would recommend approval of that.
And there's a suggested motion.
Yep.
You need a motion?
Yeah, there's a suggested motion there
Yep.
in the packet.
There's a motion in the packet, yep.
Can I just wing it? I move that we approve the DPW contract with Beverly Hills.
And authorize the manager to sign. Authorize the manager to sign.
And authorize the manager
To sign the contract.
Oh, you. Okay. My brain shuts down at 10 o'clock. Sorry. Sorry.
I'll second.
Any
thank you.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Treasurer's report.
Thank you. We have the same 3 items that we do every month, 2 of them which are motions. The first one is approval of the April 2026 bills. In your packet, checks disbursements under the general fund from the period of March 21st, 2026 through April 24th, 2026, total $217,966.44, followed by checks disbursements out of the gas and weight fund for the same periods, $3,331.22, for a total disbursement for that same time period of $221,297.66.
Is there a motion to approve the April 2026 bills?
I'll move to approve April 2026 bills.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Second item B, same motion for accept the financial statements for March of 2026. Again, in your packet, there's the revenue and expenditure report for the period ending March 31st, 2026. We're 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year, or 75%. I've reviewed it from a budget line, department level, and everything is, no flags come up with the exception of planning that we discussed last council meeting, which we are still holding invoices, accumulating invoices so that we can back charge those ones that are related to the PUD back to the PUD for reimbursements. Are there any questions regarding the revenue and expense?
Nice job to have 90% of the revenue and 63% of the budget used. Nice job.
Yep, thank you. That one I can do right. That one I'm not, at least I'm on most of that,
Yeah.
with a couple of journal junk that need to be done. The second part of is the investments, as you see every month too, both the general fund and the road funds. They basically are outlined in speak for themselves. The one thing that I'll say that I said last month was the Fed is meeting the 28th and 29th. We assume the rates to stay the same. The one thing that I did comment on last one was moving a portion of Michigan class into the Oakland County government investment pool since it's a higher rate. I've done that. It's not reflected here. I had to first set it up. We always drew from that fund. So to push the funds, we had to set it up. I didn't want to do a wire. We did a ACH. I had to do a test. I didn't want to do 300,000 in one, making sure that it went to the right account. So I did $1. Once I got confirmation from the county that the $1 was received into the right account, then I transferred and did the other follow-on for the 300,000. So next month, you'll see 300,000 leave Michigan class and the 300,000 appear under the Oakland County Road Investment Pool. Not Road Investment Pool, but the Oakland County, local government investment pool for Oakland County. Any questions regarding the investments?
Is there a motion to accept the financial statements for March 2026?
I'll make a motion to accept the financial statements for March.
And I will second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Last item is, and we had a vacate of our engineer that left, but in any event, you provided the HRC invoice that tracks the billing limits for Phase 1 of the roads. And as you can see, they listed year-to-date what the total billings were, what the limit is, and what the remaining balance is. And again, it hasn't closed. I still have a packet of invoices that have come in just the other day from HRC. This was included with some other ones, so we'll go through that. But again, this is for your knowledge of us keeping track of where we're at with it.
Okay.
That concludes the treasurer's report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next is trustee comments.
I'm done.
Almost done.
The only thing I would like to add maybe to next month's agenda would be, one, what's going on with the master plan, just a quick update, and also where are we going with front yard fencing, which was brought up already today in one of the comments from folks. So that's all I have to say. Other than that,
Yeah, can I just?
Yeah.
We had talked about the master plan. Obviously, there was no planning commission this month, so there was nothing to update there. But yeah, we can leave that for the next meeting.
No comments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So we only have 4 copies.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned at 10:14.